This episode brought to you by Audible. Audibletrial.com/horrorvirgin gets you 30 days free in a book to get you started. And for your book recommendation, a special thing for you guys. A book off between Mikey and Jen. Mikey, you're the newest. You go first.
So we watched The Collector today, so I'm going to recommend The Troop. I'm recommending it because it's pretty nasty like the movie was, and it's pretty gory.
Yeah, I've heard it's
Pretty
a
good.
really gross book.
So, Jen, what do you recommend?
I'm recommending The Collector. Ooh, it's by John Fowles, and it's about a guy who kidnaps a girl and holds her in the basement.
All right, guys, go to audibletrial.com/horrorvirgin for 30 days free in a book to get you started. And, honestly, this is the first time I think ever we have not suggested a Stephen King book. So, Stephen King, I'm very, very sorry.
You're welcome.
This episode also brought to you by Nick B.
.com.
Nope, NickB.com is not a thing. Nick B is
Don't Google it. Oh, Todd just Googled it.
Oh,
You
guys,
do
it's
not want to see
real
what came
gross.
Out. Nick B is just burning it down all
Yeah,
over
Nick B is
town.
our Burn It Down Patreon patron, and he wants you guys to check out Preacher6.com. Guys, check out Preacher6.com. They have 2 awesome trailers up. So, guys, check it out. If you want to help them get funded, help them get funded. Nick B, thank you so much. And if
Yes,
you
thank
want
you,
your
Nick
weekly
B.
shout out, go to Patreon.com and check out what you could do to get your weekly shout outs.
And stay tuned at the end of the episode for our monthly shout out. Hey, Todd, let's bring the theme music in.
I'm going to go and bring in that theme music and apologize profusely to our audience.
I didn't mean to shut you down.
They all say that.
Oh, except they don't say it's fine and they're yelling it from their car as they peel out of your driveway.
While they bump No Scrubs.
Triflers need not apply. Welcome to the Horror Virgin, everybody.
Nice,
I'm
guys.
Jen.
Breakup.
Sorry. No. Damn it.
I'm your horror virgin, Todd.
Hi, I'm Mikey.
And you've got pot almonds in your mouth.
Paul almonds are the best.
So, yeah, Mikey got to choose the movie
Oh,
today.
my God.
Movie.
It was the grossest episode of MacGyver ever.
Oh, yeah, it was.
We watched The Collector.
I chose The Collector.
Woo.
It's a little-known movie that came out in 2009. It was one of the first movies I watched in theaters when I moved to Nashville.
Really?
The Collector is got a unique premise where it's kind of a cat and mouse game.
So I watched the trailer for Patreon, and I texted you right after I did the video for it because I didn't know anything about it really. You just said I probably like the premise, and I do. I thought by watching it, the trailer, I was like, oh, is it like a thief versus murderer, cat and mouse type jam? And it is. I like the premise of this.
the
Yeah.
premise is great.
I hated the movie.
Yeah, I did too. I do. I
But-
like the concept of
Me
it.
too.
That's what I like about it because there's not many movies that do something like this.
It's sort of like Ocean's 12, and I know Ocean's 12 is not a good movie, but it's like thieves versus thieves trying to steal
Yeah.
something stupid. It's a bad movie. But in this, it's sort of like thief versus murderer.
Yeah, if
Thief
they had
versus
had
serial
like
killer.
long conversations, like thinly veiled about all the famous people they know, and then Julia Roberts plays 3 different versions of herself,
Exactly.
all of them pregnant.
I do think this is the first time anyone's talked about Ocean's 12 since 2011
I
or
know.
whenever it came
Yeah.
out.
So the part I don't like about this movie is it came out around the same time as the Sauls were huge.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of torture.
Porn.
It is very torture
I'm
porny.
not a big
Yeah.
gore torture porn guy. I don't like
Yeah.
torture in my movies. I have a thing with teeth. When teeth get knocked out, it makes me really freaked out.
But you
Oh,
like
yeah.
this movie.
But I do like this movie because I feel like the premise drags the movie through it.
Okay, kind of like all
Man,
the people got dragged through the
I
houses
did love the
and-
premise, but I hated this movie.
I didn't like it either. This is so not the kind of movie
But
I
also
like
the
to watch.
sequel makes this movie better. I'm gonna make you guys watch
Well,
that
what
as
happens
well.
in
Yeah.
the sequel?
I can't tell you what happens in the sequel.
Jen, what are you doing?
I don't want to watch the sequel.
Jen this whole time is going to be like, yeah, but what happens in the next movie?
Yeah, the whole time Todd's scared and gagging, and Jen's like, "What happens next?"
I know.
I'm like, guys, just watch the movie.
Or like, how many more times do we have to look at spiders? If I had,
I know.
If I had
yeah.
the ballpark, how many times Jen said that it would have been 12?
Mikey, there's more spiders in this movie. Like, is there another?
You
spider?
said this wasn't a spider movie. Damn it.
It was not a spider. There are spiders in the movie. It's not a spider movie.
I was a little sad that the wasp's nest never came back into play.
Oh,
Does
my
the wasp's
God.
nest show up in the sequel?
It's a side story about him.
It
just,
is?
Yeah, I did hear that Aragog is in the sequel. Is that true?
Aragog?
It's a Lord of the Rings reference.
No, it's Harry Potter.
Oh, boom. You were about to mansplain to
no.
me.
Oh, my
Wait,
God.
what's the spider in Lord of the Rings?
Aragog. Oh, he's the big spider. Yeah. In the second one?
All right, let's get into the fucking movie.
All right. So we start. A couple gets home who don't like to turn lights on in their house.
Yes,
Oh shit! I forgot about
They
these
get
guys.
all the
You're
way
right.
into their house. They've like already taken showers. They're in bed. They're ready to go before any of them
No,
think to
that's
turn the
not-
lights on.
That's not what happened.
But
at
they
all.
are significantly into their house without just turning the
They
lights
got
on.
home.
Yeah, they
They're
got
all
home.
dressed because they went out.
It's a
They're like making out
hyperbole.
in their kitchen.
It's not hyperbole. That's not hyperbole.
What is
Yeah,
hyperbole?
you're just making up shit.
No, I know.
Honestly, all you did there was lie to our listeners.
Hyperbole is exaggeration.
Hashtag gin cut. Yeah, I exaggerated how far they went into their house.
It's really just hashtag getting cut.
Jen, you'd be great at politics.
Seriously, though.
So the couple comes home from their night out.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
The weird part is they don't turn any lights on when they. Only my mother doesn't turn lights on in the house.
You're put on notice, Mikey's mom.
Yeah,
Turn
don't
on a
do that.
goddamn
Oh,
light.
she started listening. Be nice.
Mikey's mom, you're a sweet lady.
Well, she
You
said
and
she
Dorothy
was listening.
Mantooth.
This is the test.
We'll find out. We'll find out.
So she doesn't turn any lights on. I'm trying to eat dinner. I'm like, can I turn some lights on?
Is she trying to save electricity money?
Yeah, and I try to tell her it's like a fraction of a penny an
Yeah.
hour for like a light, especially now with LED light. I don't want to talk about it.
Well-
Welcome back to Recapping Conversations with Mikey's mom, starring Mikey, mom played by Jen.
Yeah, I play a good mom.
Like, okay,
They
so
are.
if you get home and you're both a little tipsy, which I have been in similar situations, right? Where I went home with a lady.
And you didn't want to
and,
turn the lights on?
We didn't turn lights on immediately when we got there
'Cause
because
you
we
were
were making out in her little entryway.
She would
that
start
sounds very
rethinking her
sexual.
choices. the lights come on, it becomes real.
Oh my
Oh, yeah.
The scene is only 30 seconds.
I know. So anyway,
Okay, the
they
point
stop
is-
they stop making out in the kitchen and she goes upstairs.
And the point is, they are significantly into the house before they realize
She
the
doesn't turn
power is
lights on to go
out.
upstairs.
No.
I know. Okay, so if you open the door like a normal person and just flip on the inside light, then you know the lights are out and you can get the fuck out of your house.
I leave lights on when I'm gone, so I don't have to go into a dark house.
I do too. That's how you keep the burglars from going away.
So the wife or girlfriend or whoever goes upstairs and then
Let's
he
assume it's the wife. Let's give them
yeah,
the
I mean
benefit
they're
of the doubt.
of age that they may
They
be
could be married. They're grown
Way
ups.
of age. They're older couples.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
older couple.
they're like
I mean,
an
they
empty
didn't even
nester
have
couple.
kids out of the house.
Yeah.
Like they're older. Anyway, so she goes upstairs and
Bills.
he notices the lights are off.
Yeah, because he's like, oh, Bills, I better turn the lights on to read the mail.
Well, no, but that's
He's
why
trying
he
to read
tries
the
to turn the
bills
light
in the
on.
dark. Yeah,
that
yeah.
makes sense.
This
And then
is
he's
in
like,
recession, so.
Maybe he hasn't paid his light bill and he just doesn't want to admit that, so he keeps the lights off. And then once he's finally ready to face the truth, he can't
This
turn
scene
the lights
really has
on.
no relevance to the rest of the movie.
No.
I'm really glad we're giving it in-depth
This
coverage.
is why
We
we,
are
take
breaking it down.
45
Mikey.
minutes.
So anyway, he starts to go upstairs calling his wife's name or whatever, and he hears her scream.
Yeah.
And then he gets up there, and there's this red trunk on the floor.
With a note on top of it.
Yeah. Do they actually read the note?
Yeah,
I
it
don't.
says, for the collection. Which
Ah.
is the name of the sequel.
Which,
the collection.
do you think the collector just thought he might forget? Like, why did he put that note on there? Was it just to
I
fuck
think
with
he
him?
was just messing with them, yeah.
I think he put it there to draw focus because he's somewhere in that room.
Oh, yeah, he does.
So he pulls that, he puts that there and leaves that note to draw focus. So they're focused on that. Doesn't he open the box too?
Larry
yeah,
tries
he-
to open the box and then he gets
How do you know
collected.
his name's Larry?
Because I did research on this movie. Also, I think it says his name is Larry.
Because fun
the
facts,
movie.
Mikey. Because fun facts.
Hashtag
right.
fun facts. Yeah.
So Larry opens the trunk.
Then you see gloved hands collect him.
Thank you. Then you
Yeah.
see gloved hands collect him. Yes.
No, doesn't a person pop out of the trunk?
No.
How many times have you seen this movie?
A lot.
No, he gets got because we're seeing his face and he looks like he's looking in horror in the trunk and then he gets the
Oh,
gloved
yeah,
hands
yeah,
on
yeah,
his
yeah,
face.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I wonder who's in the box from the
I don't.
original box.
The box might be empty when it's there.
It might be. Maybe
You don't
this
know.
is the first collection. Maybe that's why he says for the collection
The
because he didn't have
sequel
one yet.
explains a lot of this stuff.
Okay.
What happens in
More
the
of his
sequel?
process. I'm not telling you what happens.
Oh,
I'm making you
man.
watch it.
Then we get the best opening credits.
Oh,
ever.
these are like
Yes.
long TV
This
show
is
opening
like-
credits,
like really, really wanted to be Seven. Have you seen
and
Seven?
really, really wanted to be Nine Inch Nails music.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
there's a
9 Inch
lot of-
Nails is the beginning of Seven.
Oh, is it?
That's what I'm talking about.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't know that.
No,
Yeah.
that's okay, because you haven't seen that,
I
right?
have not.
Well, you will.
Oh, put that on the list.
Yeah, after
Okay,
not
so
Inch Nails
there's
credit.
Some stylistic choices. They do the stylistic credits. They do some stylistic
Yeah.
scenes.
The choices are the wrong choices, though.
They are.
It's the opening credits
First
are
15
bad.
minutes feels like a student film.
It kind of
does.
does,
Still
yeah.
love
it. Yeah.
Maybe this was the collector's attempt at like working video editing. He just wanted to make
He
himself
was
seem real
collecting
edgy.
experience for the
When
rest
you
of the
open the
movie.
box, that's what you see. So then we go to the artistic field shot of flowers.
Oh, yeah. I actually did sort of like that shot.
I like
Yeah,
the
it was
shot
okay.
with the cars. And
It was
It
sort
was
of
like
artistic, yeah.
every Instagram filter on this.
It was like every preview video for the Fire Festival documentaries.
Yeah.
Like everything's going in like super fast, but the camera's going slow. Yeah. But this is where we find the house that is under
Cut
construction.
to antebellum White House with white
Yeah.
columns.
I guess it does kind of establish that they're in the
isolated.
middle of
No.
they're not on a busy street.
And it seems like they've renovated the whole house. There's lots of construction.
Haven't been mowing those lawns. There's a bunch of construction going on at this house. And Arkin, our main character.
Yeah, we find out that he is sort of like a handyman. He
Yeah.
installed their security system. He's putting bars in the
Yeah.
windows, right? Arkin's his last name, though, right? His first name's Alan.
Yes.
I
yeah.
believe, no, Arkin is his first name. He tells one of the daughters that he creepily
God damn
talks
it.
to in the beginning
Yeah,
of the
I
movie.
But
just
she
like the
kept-
joke that Alan Arkin is the main character in this movie, and then picturing Alan Arkin doing all these things is
What is
hilarious.
Alan Arkin?
The only reason I know Alan Arkin is from Argo. Like, I really remember him from
Oh,
Argo.
that's how I know
He's the
him.
Argo fuck
Yeah.
yourself guy.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so
awesome.
picture that dude fighting with a guy in a mask the whole time. This movie becomes a comedy in a heartbeat.
I could see it though.
It'd
He's
be
pretty
awesome.
badass.
Actually in a
yeah.
movie where he's a jewel thief.
Really?
Is he?
Yeah,
Was it from 70 years ago?
No, it's like from 3 years ago.
Is it called The Italian Job, the original?
Is it that episode of The Simpsons where it's the old folks' home and it's the old
You guys
retired?
never let
Is
me-
it the one where he gets visited by a giant that tells him,
No,
you're a
he's
wizard,
got
Alan?
all
And then they have to live in a giant peach and there's lots of bugs in there.
Mikey is so mad right now.
I know.
No, he's got Alzheimer's and his family.
Oh.
Did I steal that jewel?
No, yeah. No, and they
can't remember
hire
where he left it.
a robot helper for him and his Alzheimer's, and he teaches the robot to help him.
He teaches
like,
the
steal
robot to
things.
love?
No, to
Oh.
help him steal things from around the town.
That's amazing.
It's a good movie.
And if he was a jewel thief in that movie, it's logical that he would be the Alan Arkin in this
maybe.
movie who was also a jewel thief. Connection, you win, let's go.
And what's the name of that movie? The Collection.
What?
What? Is that what happens in the sequel?
No, I'm lying. I'm
It's
sorry.
like 45 years later.
So anyway, Alan Arkin is putting up bars in the windows. He's
Yeah.
also, I don't think we see him install the security system, but I
no,
think
we
they
don't. I
mention
think
it.
it's just the bar.
He's-
Maybe
yeah,
he
he's-
is just a handyman because it says he's been
Yeah.
there for a couple months.
Yeah.
He's been working on
He's
the house for a couple
helping
months.
renovate.
But the family's already living there. So it's
Yes.
like it's completed enough that a family could live there, but there's still some work to be done.
Yes, and the youngest daughter knows his name.
Hannah.
Yeah.
Mermaid girl.
And they have a nice little tea party
Yeah.
where it
Mr.
sort of
Arkin, I'm
looks
having
like
a
he's
tea party.
grooming her.
He seems very uncomfortable around children.
Yeah, but I mean, I think I
He
felt
just
more
seems
comfortable
uncomfort-
about that scene when I realized that he was a father.
Yes.
If that
yes.
makes sense.
But I felt more comfortable about it once I knew that he'd been working in that house for a couple of
Oh, yeah.
months. Because that
He
was his
knows
first
this
day on the
family.
job. Yeah. Because the dad, which I thought the dad was like the foreman for a while because he was just like walking around telling him what to
He
do.
sort
And
of
then you
is.
realize it's
I
the
mean,
dad.
he is paying them.
Yeah.
Well, I know, but I thought he was like his construction boss.
But
and
I
that it was
will
going to be
say-
like a fancy rich family that doesn't talk to the help.
Right. This dad responds the way a dad probably should respond walking into that situation. He's like, hey, man, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Right.
Arkin throws his teacup. He's like, she asked me to do it.
I don't know, man. She said she was a mermaid. I don't know what's happening. Apparently, they live in caves. I don't know.
Her room was cool though. You see, it was like an ocean floor.
Yeah, I mean, it was clear that she was
His
into
family
mermaids.
is
Yeah.
rich.
Anyway, so he leaves that room, and they sort of establish that he's the handyman at that point, and that's more or less it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
but
there's
like
a lot
a
of
security
foreshadowing.
specific handyman.
There's a lot of foreshadowing in these scenes because it cuts to the cat, it cuts to the fish tank.
Yes.
It cuts to.
This is when I was saying, I'm gonna collect that fish tank. I'm gonna collect that cat.
I don't think it was
and I was
when,
like, all
but
of
you
these
could have
things
been.
get used to torture different people
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah, or
Man,
cut
that
in half.
cat.
I know. Or dumped on the floor and electrocuted. Those fish died too.
And so did the dog. All animals were harmed in the making of this film.
Yeah, this was not a PETA approved movie. And then I find out that Mikey has betrayed me and chosen a movie with lots of bugs in it because
Oh yeah,
he's
there
just
are a lot of bugs in this.
outside and then a wasp lands on his hand and that
But
I
this
don't like
scene
bugs.
teaches us that Arkin is cool under pressure. 'cause
He
he's got
is
3
cool
large
under
wasps
pressure,
on his
yeah.
hand, and all he does is take a big puff of the cigarette and fumigates them off his arm.
Is that what he does?
yeah, more or less.
So then we meet Jill, who's the older daughter, because she comes up and she wants to steal a drag of the cigarette from Arkin, who's smoking in his truck.
Yeah, Jill's kind of flirty. And
She is
Arkin,
a little flirty. She's, what is she, think, 17, 18, somewhere around there?
God, I hope.
She's over. She better be over 18 because those.
we see her boobs later.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
would be
I was
weird.
thinking mid college.
Are working.
So
You know, good
22.
choice.
Yeah.
Well, she's still living at home with her family.
Most people our age live at home.
Oh,
with
yeah,
their
because
you know.
cost of living is so high.
In Arkin's defense, he feels real weird about her flirting with him, and he's
Yeah.
very defensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So both
Very
of the
reluctantly
daughters are
talking to her.
This
trying
is
to
a
get all up on
pre-Me
it.
Too movement movie, but I feel like it sort of fits because he is like not on board for this. I mean, she's an attractive woman. She's not my type, but she's definitely an attractive woman.
No, but Arkin he's very respectful
He
to,
is,
to the
yeah.
daughter, to the family.
Yeah.
Just to show you that Arkin's a decent
He's a good
dude.
guy. Yeah.
I mean, it may sort of be a show because he is casing their house
Right, and
to steal
trying
their
to take-
jewels.
Well, that's what.
But I mean, he does prove himself to be a good guy when he tries to save them. So, like, I'm not saying he's not like a heart of gold, but at this point, he may just be trying to pretend like he's this great dude,
Right.
Because he's going to try and steal,
or
shit.
just not attract attention to himself.
Yeah, that's
because
true,
then
too.
when the jewel ends up gone, what happened to the creepy guy who was hitting on our daughter the whole time and
Oh, yeah.
also installed all of our security systems?
That's one of the reasons I really like this movie, because the whole time you're like, is Arkin like a good guy, or is
Yeah.
he just reacting to his events? And you go back and forth.
He seems to be a good guy who maybe has a hard time making ends meet and uses the skills he has
does not have a hard time
nefariously.
making ends meet.
I'll
Well,
say
yeah.
this. I think he's a good guy who's in a bad situation, and so he has to do bad things.
Is he like
Right.
an anti-hero?
I would say anti-hero is a pretty
Yeah.
good way to say it.
He's an anti-hero. I'll give it that.
I like a good anti-hero.
I mean,
Yes, he is
honestly,
good.
he's 2 dead parents away from becoming Batman and a trust fund.
he has
Oh yeah,
got-
and a lot of tools
Yeah.
and
he's
stuff.
got the pain tolerance of.
Oh yeah.
Really
my
does.
God.
Oh
He-
yeah. This is when he goes to the bowling alley.
Yeah, he goes to meet his daughter at the bowling alley, and we find out one thing I do like about this movie is we don't get a whole lot of this backstory because I don't really care that much. That's not what the movie's about. We find out that he has a daughter, he doesn't get along with the mom, and
Well,
she
they're
needs
married.
money.
He says wife later.
Oh, really?
He
Yeah,
does
they're
kiss her
married
at the bowling alley.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she's not happy with him, and she's about to take the daughter and run because she owes some money to a loan shark.
That she did without him. It's implied that he was not a part of that
Right,
decision.
right, yeah. But she
then
just
she-
had to get money. In my mind, the daughter needed some kind of medicine or treatment or something.
Yeah. There's no illusion of
Yeah,
that.
and she
There-
works
yeah, I
in
don't
a
think
bowling
so.
alley. Yeah, but they don't talk about it at all, and I'm glad because we don't need the backstory. for this
Yeah, we don't need
You're
that.
left to make up your own mind. And then
Exactly,
the
and
wife
I
gets
did.
mad that he bought her a stuffed animal to bring to the bowling alley.
Yeah, which I mean, I guess like
I
if
felt
you
bad
have
for the-
money, give me food. You know,
I mean, honestly, we don't know that he bought that. He might have stolen it from that girl's room.
It had a price tag on it.
Oh, did it?
Him and the wife have a discussion about don't leave town. You couldn't do that anyway. They would find you. Let me get the money tonight. Give me till midnight.
yes, yes.
And then he calls a shady character who's like, I'm going to be there in 20 minutes.
Oh yeah, and he does go there. There being a strip club.
You know,
Todd's
where
favorite part of the movie.
bad guys hang out.
Honestly, I didn't love this part of the movie because everything's shot in red. Like, I don't really like the
Yeah.
director of photography of this movie. I
This
don't know who
movie
it
is
is,
either
but
blue or red. Or
yeah, and I just didn't
daytime.
like it. Like, if you're gonna light up some boobs, light them up right.
How would you light up boobs, Todd?
Honestly, like they are at the end, to where you can really see
In
them.
moonlight, close up.
So good.
Gross.
Anyway, she's definitely in college, Mikey.
Did anybody fact check?
The guy she brings home is definitely like 50 years old.
Oh yeah,
He's older than
that
Arkin.
dude is the director.
yeah. He's like, I'm going to use my directing powers to get to do this scene.
And if she's flirting with Arkin, that guy definitely looks older than Arkin.
He
Yeah.
does look old, but Arkin looks like he's 12 and talks like he hasn't hit puberty yet, too. So
Arkin does not talk like that. Arkin looks cool and
Arkin
talks cool.
talks like this the whole time. I
talks
found him
softly. He's soft-spoken.
and he has a really high pitched voice.
He
for a
does
man.
not have a high pitch.
I don't really think he has a high pitched
I
voice
think he's
either.
got a high pitched voice.
No,
listeners.
he talks quietly.
He talks like a cat burglar might talk.
No,
Just like-
everything he does is
Talking like he's always
very-
sneaking down a hallway.
I think it's just part of his character of like everything he does is carefully chosen and
Smooth.
scripted, and you know he doesn't.
Yeah,
do
it's almost like
anything
it's a movie script.
He's a smooth criminal.
deliberate. All his actions are deliberate in the film. No.
Alan, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay, Alan? When the girl puts a TV
On
and
the fish tank and electrifies Larry.
Yeah, let's get to that.
Larry,
Hannah's
are you
the only
okay?
competent character besides Arkin in the film.
Hannah,
Baby
yeah.
MacGyver. There are 3
Baby
MacGyvers in this. Anyway,
There's
we'll get
evil
there.
MacGyver, Arkin MacGyver, and Baby MacGyver.
So he goes to the strip club
and he
and
finds his nefarious man who goes and sits in the car and yells at him. His
And this is
the
where-
limo, the back of the
over
limo.
criminal, his overlord
Yeah.
criminal.
This is where you learn Alan. I'm calling him Alan. now. you learn Arkin's backstory. This guy, his boss, is like, we've had an arrangement for a long
His
time.
Spence,
Uh-huh.
whoever helps him sell the stuff he steals.
And,
Yeah.
and it says that they met in prison, and he took his protection in prison. And that's why he steals for him now.
Oh, I missed that.
I did
You guys
too.
were
I
talking.
missed that. Yeah.
So that's how he set up that arrangement. He's like, he needs the money tonight by midnight to help out his wife. He says, I need 50%. I need the 50% cut tonight. Can you
Why
make
does
this
it have
happen?"
to be at midnight? Because she's going to leave.
Because that's
at
when the loan
midnight?
shark needs the
sharks
money.
are coming for her
Oh.
tonight.
Okay.
And so the guy's unhappy that he changes the terms
plan.
of the deal.
Right. Them ain't the terms.
Yeah.
They grab his hand and like they
Oh,
put
they
lighter
burn
under
it, yeah.
And then Arkin doesn't freak out again because Arkin is a badass.
I
Yeah.
mean, he starts moving his hand, but he's not like, oh my God, God. He's like, I can take it.
Because he's got a smooth hand.
Who else you gonna find to do this?
Yeah.
Right. That's
They're
my
like,
wasp hand. I can withstand fire.
It was his wasp hand.
Maybe
In
Arkin just
Jen's
has, like,
defense.
nerve damage.
Yeah. He has that
superpower.
disease. He has that disease where you can't feel pain, like your pain receptors
Oh,
don't
yeah.
work. That's a real thing.
It is. Yeah, there was a House episode
Now,
about it. It was
what I liked
fucked
about
up.
this scene is that it showed his hand hairs catching on
Yeah.
fire and melting away, which is an interesting
Eee.
shot.
This is
Well,
the
that's because
beginning
they
of.
probably really burned his hand a little bit.
They probably. They didn't have enough money for a stunt double for the hand scene. Like, just use your wasp hand; it'll be fine.
They had to find someone with a hairier hand, though.
Yes.
So anyway, Alan Arkin and the bad fence guy settle on 40%.
Bad fence man. Yeah.
And he's like,
I like
I'll
it.
get you the jewels tonight.
Right.
There's jewels in the house, and he's like,
Yeah.
you've been casing that house.
It
for
really
months.
is just one big ass jewel.
ruby.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
Is it a
Is it
ruby?
ruby or-
It's red.
It's
so
like a
probably
big
red.
geode that you find like inside of a rock, except it's all ruby.
all ruby all the time.
Oh, ruby.
That's actually what the announcer was saying at the strip club.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
It's
ruby.
ruby night, guys, so it's all ruby all the time.
It's really big. It's like what you find inside a rock. All ruby.
And that's why everything's shot in red.
Yeah, it's a theme night.
At this club, they just keep the red lights on to hide the cesarean scars.
Oh,
Ugh. And there's no black lights, so you can't see the semen.
the salmon.
How do you? I've only ever read that word.
Oh, have you? Ooh,
By the way, Jen got very offended by your cesarean.
I did.
so-
There's nothing wrong with cesarean scars. So now,
No,
now
not a
we have
ticking clock.
introduced a ticking
time
clock,
bomb.
a ticking mom bomb, if you will.
What? A tiki mom bomb sounds like a drink you would get at some shitty, overpriced tiki bar
Hey, guys.
speakeasy back alley room.
So now he breaks into the house.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is where. So it cuts from them agreeing to the 40% terms, right?
Yeah, he
It
wanted
cuts
50,
from
he
that-
gets 40.
To an
Right.
overhead shot of fog and him driving on a side
Yes.
road to get. And then
It's
abandoning
kind of
the
a cool
fog.
shot, honestly.
It is kinda cool.
And this is like pre-drone revolution. I
Yeah.
wonder if that is a drone. It could be 2009, but
Yeah.
it may have to have been a helicopter.
Yeah, I think it may have been a helicopter. Which
I'm
is
just
super
saying, this is Flamecopter's appearance in this movie.
Flamecopter's first movie.
Yes. So Alan Arkin pulls up on the house, pulls on a balaclava.
And then we see the dog
cool. A
that
ski
almost
mask
bites him.
for you at home.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I like the beginning of the film because it sets up a lot of motivations for Arkin. He needs a lot of motivation to stay in this house of horrors he finds himself into.
And it sets him up as a basically good person too. So we see a big fork sticking out of the yard, and it's like a big. It's not a fork, but
It's not a
like
fork. No,
it's
I mean,
a leash
I've
fork.
seen those.
Yeah.
I've seen those for like, it's like a tent stake
Yeah.
that you
Stake
put a
with
leash through.
There's a
Yeah,
chain on it.
and we haven't seen that before, and we've seen this yard a little bit because
Yeah.
we spent some
Well, this
time
is
out there.
okay. So this is why I like this film because the beginning of the film,
It's genius.
unlike 13 Ghosts, this film plots the house out with the family in it. It shows you everything you need to see.
True.
Which is they have a cat, they don't have a dog. There's this here, this here, this here.
We've
So when
also we forgot to mention the safe behind the mirror. Yeah.
the safe is behind the mirror. He watches the mom inject herself with Botox. All this stuff happens.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then when he comes back to the house, everything that's different is very evil and hurts people.
Yes, and we can see this is not just a crazy family that always has traps in
Right,
their
right,
house.
right.
We know this is different, and it's different from a few hours ago too.
And yeah, so Arkin notices immediately this little thing on the ground.
Right. Yeah, I
Yes.
do think they do a good job of setting up the sense of space of the house because that's where we are for the rest of the movie,
Yeah,
basically.
and it doesn't
Yeah.
feel weird like some movies
It
that we
doesn't.
watch.
I don't think it felt weird at all. It was just like he walked into a house that had been Kevin McAllister.
Yeah. If Kevin McAllister never got therapy for being left home alone and having to talk to a certain person
If
that's
Kevin
terrible.
McAllister lost to the burglars, this is what would happen. to him.
Right.
Yeah, if he got wet bandited,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is what
Or
would
no,
have happened after
if they
he.
took him as part of their wet bandit team and he just became the mastermind behind all the traps and they were the muscle that did it all.
And
yeah.
they murdered a bunch of people.
Is that what happens in the sequel?
we find out the collector is Macaulay Culkin.
All right, he goes up to the safe. Well, first of all, we find out that there's a creaking board on the
Yeah,
floor.
because he hits it, which I bet he would have already known.
Picks
But
the lock,
whatever.
does the
Probably.
security stuff.
Yeah.
And he's still thinking nobody is in this house because
Yeah,
the
he thinks he's
family
by
was
himself.
supposed to go on vacation.
He even takes his ski mask off once he gets inside.
So then he's breaking into the safe, and then he hears the lock turn on the door.
Yeah,
And
like
he-
someone's coming in.
Yeah, and he's got
Oh, he
his,
takes out his safety, his safe crack.
his safe crack and ultrasound equipment. Yeah, and that's how he's able to hear the key turn because he's already magnifying everything that's happening on this, like the walls of the house, right?
Right.
Also, he's got cat-like reflexes and hearing. He's a highly sensitive person,
He
so
is a cat burglar.
that's why he became a cat
Well, he
burglar.
also had that thing on the safe that was amplifying the sound of the safe.
That's what I said,
But I
yeah.
mean, that wouldn't help him hear other
Yeah, he only
things.
had
Unless-
one earphone in.
Yeah, it was his other ear that he heard the steps with. So,
So
yeah, he does hear
he
the
hears the
collector.
lock.
There's a lot of.
There's a lot of shoe work in this
There
movie.
is,
Yeah, I kept
and
saying
every
that.
time Todd said shoes, actual shoes.
No, I was
What
saying.
did you say?
And honestly, guys, it's an old school Mystery Science Theater 3000 reference when it's just showing someone's feet. Shoe cam. actual shoes. And that is a joke I stole from Mr. Science Theater
I was
3000.
wondering, yeah. 'cause
But
you've
it's
said
been
it in a lot of movies.
Oh,
we've
it's
watched.
so funny.
Oh, it's fun. It is fun.
But it's like I think it's the gumball
They
machine.
do cut to their shoes a lot until like
They do.
Yeah.
the later half of the movie.
Because
Oh,
they
yeah.
want us to know that they're walking but not making a sound.
Good.
I mean, I don't dislike that. There just is a lot of it.
Well, and there's not a ton of dialogue either because
No.
the whole premise of this movie is people not wanting other people to know they're there and hiding.
And
the
it
collect-
actually does a good job about it.
It
Yeah,
does. Mm-hmm.
the collector never speaks. You never hear him speak. And the only time there is any dialogue once he gets to the house to rob it is when he's talking to the dad, talking to the mom, talking to
Right.
the younger
And
daughter.
he's always whispering, Jen. He doesn't have a high pitched voice.
Well, and because he's trying to hide from the collector,
Yes.
he's like, "Hey, don't fucking
Which
say
is
anything,
why I
you
like this
stupid
movie because
He's not
child."
trying to hide from
Most
the
horror
collector at the
movies,
beginning.
They just find someone. They're like, "Hold on, I'm gonna get you out of there."
I'll be right back. And then they get got.
But he's like, "Shut up."
What's next is when he's trying to originally break into it, and the collector hears him up there, goes up the steps, hits the creaky step.
Yep.
And that's when I think Alan Arkin is like, "Shit,
There's somebody in this house.
there's somebody
Yeah.
else in this house, and I'm old, so I gotta move."
And
So
then
he
he-
moves the mirror
the
back
mirror
down,
down.
takes all of his gear, and walks to the closet. What
Well,
is that?
it's
some
like,
other
it's like,
room.
It's like there's like that room has two doors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it cuts that cool overhead shot.
That's a
I
really
do
cool
like the
shot.
overhead
where
shot,
the
yeah.
collector's on one side of the door, on the other side, and he's on the other side, the other side, and they both move at the same time. And you're like, oh, okay.
Sneaky.
Yeah, really, it's just that one creaky step that Alan Arkin always steps over, but the collector never does.
Which I guess is like a
Well,
power
'cause
move
he's
or
more-
something.
Yeah,
Because
he's more
surely.
focused on murder, and then he's
Exactly.
more focused on not being.
Yeah, I mean, I
caught.
think it would make sense that the thief, the cat burglar, would pay more attention to stuff like that.
Also, he's probably focused on remembering what the traps he set up in the house is so he doesn't accidentally set them off himself.
Well, I mean,
'Cause
Alan
that's
Arkin's
what I
got
would
that
do.
problem too. He's got to remember traps he didn't set up and be
Right.
on lookout for other
which
traps.
he does a pretty decent job.
Oh yeah. I mean, really, the only trap I think that gets him is when he's like slowly walking down the hall and the lightning flashes and you see all the razor wire, but he's looking away. That was a cool shot.
But it only
and
gets
then he
him a little
walks
bit.
into it slowly. He doesn't like run into it, which I think was the intention of it. But he
Yeah.
like nicks himself on it, like he was shaving, like he nicked
yeah.
his.
Oh, and
Yeah.
the other
Yeah.
trap was the fish hooks in the bathroom.
Yes.
Yeah, that almost gets him.
But that's when he's with Hannah, and he's not. He has
And-
to worry about her.
And
Yeah.
Hannah's short, so she just walks
And
under him.
shit's already hit the fan at that point.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're running.
But
and
at
stuff.
this point on, from that tee shot where it's like that, you can see on top and they're like just walking around each other more or less. It is super suspenseful till the end of the
Yes.
movie.
Yes, and we may have. This was the part where you were walking through and you're like, "Oh, I'm going to steal that floor. Oh, I'm going to steal that thing," and then you try to know the flashlight on because Todd was really tense and he makes
Yes.
a lot of jokes
Yes,
when he's
this
tense.
is the part where Todd stopped making. So when it gets scary, Todd can't make jokes anymore.
No.
He just sits back.
Yeah.
We'll
okay.
go steal that fish.
But here's the thing: when he's walking up to the safe, so when he gets to the safe until he hears
Alan
the collector,
or the collector?
Alan, yeah.
Alan, okay.
Does he? Has he seen the traps yet?
No,
I don't think he
he
has.
hasn't seen
Right?
the traps. He hasn't seen any of the
Okay,
changes.
so he still
the
just
only thing
thinks
he
he's going
noticed
to
was
steal
the
this
dog. Oh,
thing.
the dog bit his face. The dog was
Yes.
on the chain. We forgot to talk
And
about.
he's been at this house for a couple of months,
So he knows
he
everything.
knows that this house doesn't have a terrible dog that bites people's faces. So
Yeah, he just goes. Yeah, he's like "That's
something
weird."
is up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he just he's got to save his daughter. So
But
gotta
he's
get
at
the
least
jewels.
walked past the chandelier knife trap.
Yes.
We haven't seen it, nor has he, but it's there.
Right. Oh yeah, all the traps
Yeah,
are there.
yeah.
He just got lucky that he needed to get to the safe that doesn't take him through all the traps. Because it would be a real quick movie if it was just in the bear trap room and he just fell on the bear traps 5 minutes after
So
walking in.
does he go back down the stairs or does he hide upstairs?
He
after the
hides
cheap shot?
upstairs, I think.
You know, I don't really know. 'Cause there's a lot of this movie where it is just them sneaking around the house, and I'm
Right.
not quite
Looking
sure
for each
what
other, yeah.
order everything happens
It's
in.
like sneaking and traps and whispering to people.
Yes,
It
I
just
think.
back
I
and
honestly
forth.
think at this point he goes downstairs because this is when he starts to like keep an inventory of where the traps are and what they are.
No,
Right.
He goes to the door to get out.
Yes.
And then he
Yes, and
notices
he
that there's-
realizes he can't.
Yes, there's
Yeah.
more locks.
Okay, hold on. Yeah, he gets no. I think the first thing that happens is he sees the dad. The dad's coming up the steps and falls on the floor, and he's
That's
hidden.
right, you're right.
And the dad
That's right.
sees
So he
him.
goes-
he's like, "You
yes.
motherfucker! Why are you doing this to us?"
The collector goes back down the basement, and the dad comes out of the basement.
Dad is all bloody and gross. Dad's gotten got
But
by
the
some
dad
traps.
immediately thinks Alan Arkin's internet, which I would too.
I would too.
Right.
You see a strange guy in your house,
Why
and you
did
already
you
been
do this to us?
Exactly.
But he's like, "Shut the fuck up! I'm trying to help you."
right, which I wouldn't believe.
I wouldn't either,
No.
but I do think the dad eventually does.
I think so too.
And I
Not
think he-
until later.
Well, I don't know, man. I think in that shot he
No,
sort
he
of does.
grabs the golf club to try to kill him.
That's
and
true,
that's
you're
when
right.
he gets got by the
That's when we
shoe
notice that the
pulley
whole-
cam.
There's a trap. He grabs the
Oh
golf
my
club,
God, yeah.
Caught
and then
in a
he gets
trap.
dragged up on the stairs and then dropped down the stairs.
And this is the first time we see one of the collector's traps pay off.
Yes.
And we,
Todd didn't see traps coming at
no,
all.
I did not see it coming at all. I honestly thought it was just going to be Alan versus Macaulay Culkin, and it would be like this, murderer versus thief in a
Yeah.
locked house scenario. I had no idea everything was going to be trapped.
Everything is a
like the
trap.
scissors or
Yeah.
like the razor wire or the bear traps, all that shit.
It is a cat and mouse trap game movie.
Oh, wow.
He gets grabbed by the foot, it drags him down the hall, lifts him up, and then drops him on the floor. And I thought he was dead at this point, but he's not. And so then Alan Arkin knows he needs to get the fuck out of here.
Well, he sees the collector drag him back
He
to the
does,
basement.
yeah.
And
So he
he's like,
picks up the
"Whoa."
phone and he gets got by the phone nail.
Yes.
That was the first hint to me of what kind of movie this was going to be. I was like, oh shit, this is going to be. Because then he gets stuck in the razor window.
Dude, when he
thing.
gets hit with that
nail
that
in the
nail in the
ear.
ear, I was
Oh.
like, I thought to myself, my safe cracking ear.
Well, then, as soon as Arkin picks up the phone, gets hit with the nail, he's like, I'm getting out. He just goes
Yeah.
to the window to open the
Yeah.
window.
Oh my God, I hated this. I hated
yeah.
this. I hated this so
Punches
much.
his arm through because the windows are all boarded up,
Mm-hmm.
and then he punches his arm through, and there's razor blades between the board that he gets his hand.
Oh
caught.
my God.
Yeah,
I
it's
honestly thought it was going
a
to peel his skin
prolonged
off.
shot
I did
of
too.
him, yeah,
It was gonna
struggling
be-
with razor blades.
like,
And then
It was awful.
Jen began to hate me at this point.
I did, yeah. I don't actually.
I
hate
began
you.
to hate you at this point too. Because it's pretty graphic. Like,
It
it's.
is.
It's too graphic.
And this is the
Oh, man.
beginning of it, and it really doesn't let up for the rest of the
No.
movie.
And so I was like, you guys, Arkin, he gets
Yeah.
pretty rough.
Yeah.
He's having a bad hour.
So eventually, and I didn't even watch. How did he get his hand out of
He
the
just pulls
razor?
it.
He
Yeah.
like pulls up with the board with one hand and pulls out the other hand. And just
But
scrapes it.
there is a chunk missing from the top of his hand the whole rest of the movie. Like it's, and then he
getting
eventually
blood
wraps it in
everywhere.
like a shirt or something. He gets out
Yeah.
when he's looking for the
He
bullets.
wraps
But
in a shirt.
yeah.
So he walks through the house at this point, knowing after he gets his hand out of the razor blade, he treats his wound.
Yeah, and we start to see all of the traps that are set
Yeah, he
up.
starts noticing that there's wires everywhere, and he's like,
Mm-hmm.
"What happened?"
There's the chandelier knife ceiling thing.
Yeah, and he's just like taking a mental inventory of all of this stuff.
Yeah.
No, the
Yes,
chandelier
yes.
was on the ground because he tried to. Take
Was
the
it?
knife
Oh, that's
off-
right, because
knife
it's
out of
gonna-
it.
yeah, yeah,
He
yeah.
was still being set up, and then he walks into the piano wire room and then lightning strikes, and he sees it. And he gets cut in the cheek.
Yeah.
He sees the machete tripwire thing, and he sees the room o' bear traps, which is
Yeah,
a
room o'
room
bear
full
traps.
of comically large
It's like
bear
their
traps
dining
on
room
the floor.
full of bear traps.
Exactly, yeah.
But
Like
they are comically
gigantic
big. Like they're not even like trying to be hidden.
Right,
Well,
no.
I mean, bear traps are not small traps, Todd.
Because bears
I've
are
never seen a bear
big.
trap in real person.
It's
Have you
big.
not?
In real
Have you seen a
person?
bear?
Have you seen a bear? Bears are.
Well, I mean,
large.
at zoos.
I just wrote down so many traps because I kind of lost track of all of them too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Arkin goes to the house, and
Yeah.
it's like,
And there are a
notices
couple we
all the
haven't
traps.
seen yet.
Yeah. He almost-
Oh, there are some that surprise us when they surprise him.
Yeah, yeah, they
but
should.
this is Arkin immediately recognizing this is a bad place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
And
got to
he
get the
sees
fuck
it for
out
what
of
it is.
here.
He doesn't panic. He never panics. He never makes a peep when
He
he's getting
doesn't,
all these
because
injuries.
he goes back upstairs to try to get the
Safe again,
the
right?
yeah, into the safe. And at some point, he's hearing screaming.
Yeah, through the air vents.
Yeah, and he just like, I gotta save my daughter. I gotta get the jewels. So
Yeah, because you still don't know
then,
if he's good or not. Because he's still trying to get the jewels out, but also he's struggling. Like he'll stop and listen to the family being tortured.
Yeah.
and he can't get out too because the collectors locked all the doors. Right? There's like 4 locks on the door, and all of them took the little key part out. Right?
Yeah, like the part you
Yeah.
turn to undo a deadbolt,
Yeah.
he took that out.
So it's
And he's-
just like a little
He had
empty
a special
circle.
big key for it.
Well, it's
Yeah.
like he has the deadbolt part. He just took the thing you actually turned to turn the deadbolt. He took
Yeah.
that part out, and then he has it on his keychain. So when
Right.
he goes to the door, he can do it because he's got the part to move the deadbolt.
I'm no locksmith, so I'll take your.
Me either.
Yeah. So then he goes down into the basement and he sees the dad.
Yes.
Well, this is after the collector had to come out again, right?
Did the collector come out? The collector's been wandering around. They've both kind of been creeping around the house.
Yeah, I think he comes up the stairs again, and then
Yeah.
Arkin sneaks down in the basement.
I'm not 100% sure how the sequencing
I think
of
the
all
collector.
that.
Well, we never see the collector say anything or do anything that like lets you know why he's doing something. But I think he
Right.
was coming back upstairs because he was like, "There's someone else in this
Something
house." Like he
is
heard
up.
something.
Well, the daughter's missing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's
Collector's
still trying to
obviously
find the
cased
daughter.
the house out.
Yeah.
and he can't find the little girl Hannah.
And then he starts hearing something. I do think he thinks something's up.
Yeah, so I think he thinks maybe the girl's walking around
Right,
upstairs
right,
and he's
right.
trying to try and get her.
Right. And so then we find the dad sitting in this death chair thing. And I was trying to look at him. I didn't want to look too close to figure out
Yeah,
what was
Jen's
up
hiding
with
her
him.
eyes during the whole
Oh,
basement
dude.
Yeah, I looked
Yeah.
at it. He was cuffed down to the chair, but there was like hooks in his back.
And like nail
Something
like
through his
things.
feet.
it was thicker than a nail. It looked like PVC pipe had
did.
been
It
shoved
looked like
through it.
a
I don't know
giant-
what it was, but it was rough.
I didn't look
railroad
too
spike.
close.
Oh, it could have been a railroad spike because it was
Yeah.
real thick.
He was all fucked up. I couldn't figure out what was going on with one of his eyes
It
too.
was cut up and
Yeah.
But
Like,
I didn't want to look closely because it was gross.
Right. He looked like he was in a bad enough shape that he might die even if like paramedics
Right.
were on the scene.
Right. Even
But
if he got out of the
he was
death
keeping
chair.
his shit together.
No, he was.
He
yeah.
was for his family.
Arkin's like,
Oh,
I
this-
didn't do this. I didn't do this. I'm here to try to help you.
Yes.
Right.
And he's like, you got to save my wife. She's in the other room.
Yeah, because that's when we find out that the collector got the wife and that the older daughter is not there.
Yeah, Jill went out on a date.
Right.
Or whatever.
So
And
she
they-
has yet to be collected.
Right. And they don't know where Hannah is.
Right.
So she may or may not have already been collected. And tells
Yeah,
him,
you-
you got to go get my gun.
And
into
the dad
gun
gives him
safe."
a combination to the safe.
Gives him
Right.
combination
So
to the
he's like,
safe.
jackpot.
But this part scared the shit out of me. It was very scary. Like Alan Arkin's walking down in the basement and the dad grabs him.
yeah.
Yes.
That jump scare ruined me.
It did,
And it also ruined me when I watched the trailer. Because it's the same shot. So I sort of knew it was coming, but it still scared the shit out of me.
Well, the movie, I mean, the trailer's good, but the movie, it keeps such a high level of suspense the whole time.
It does, and you forget about this trap that you've already seen
Yeah.
because you're concentrating on this trap that
Oh,
you
yeah.
see right in your face, and then they walk into this other trap that you already knew was there, but you forgot about because you're so traumatized by all those spiders.
Like the whole time you're thinking, who's going to die next?
Exactly.
Is Arkin going to actually help someone? Because the dad gives him the safe numbers, and it's very deliberately shown. And you're like, is he just going to run upstairs, get the jewels, and run away?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Or he's like, go help my wife. And you're like, is he going to go, or is he just going to leave?
I
Because you
think
don't
he
know if
is
Alan's
thinking about it.
if Arkin's a good guy.
But even
he's
when he
broken
goes
the
to the
house.
wife and lets her know that he's there to help,
Right.
but then takes the gag out of her mouth and says, I need you to scream to create a diversion.
Right.
So you don't know if he's a good guy at that point or if he's just using the family so he can get back upstairs now that he has the safe combination so he can steal the jewels and run.
Yeah,
Right.
He's very focused on their daughter Hannah. He's like, where's Hannah? Do you know where Hannah could
Yeah.
be?
That's why I do like at the beginning that they established that he does care about these girls. He knows who they are. They're
Yeah.
not just strangers. Like he's got some kind of connection to
Yeah,
it.
but you're still wondering, like, is he gonna do the right thing?
Right.
And then the part that I hate about this scene was the mom was like, will you take the blindfold off?
Yeah.
And he's like, I can't do that. He says he can't do it because it's like stapled, nailed into her face.
Oh, yeah, it's bad.
He does pull it off later in the movie, but yeah, you're
He
right.
does. He sees that and he realizes I'm not going to be able to put this back on, so the collector will know that someone has been here and helped
Yes.
her. Yeah. So, anyways, she screams, creating the diversion for him to run up the stairs,
Yeah,
and
he
then
comes down the stairs to get mad at her, and then he's hiding on the stairs and goes back up. And it's all you see it all happen. He sneaks, and the collector sneaks down the stairs.
Yeah, it's
he
almost
sneaks
real
back.
time. Like this, from the time he gets to the safe
Out.
the
Yeah,
first
yeah.
time, I think it's real time the whole rest of the movie.
Yeah, so somebody who watched this scene is going to have to say what happens when the collector comes back down to find the screaming mom because I didn't
Okay,
watch
so
it.
yes.
Yeah, this
I
was
watched
rough.
This scene. You guys closed your eyes.
No, I saw it.
Oh, you watched
Did
it?
you?
Yeah. I try and keep I don't know, I try and watch everything because I feel like I have to.
Yeah.
This scene is brutal and nothing happens. He takes they're like regular pliers. He like puts her tongue in the pliers, takes the tongue out,
And pulls
Then-
on it.
snippers,
Yeah, it takes the garden snip
and
things.
puts it around it, and everyone in the room's freaking out.
Oh yeah, I
And
was
then,
losing my shit.
he just did it as a warning. He lets her tongue go and then puts the gag back in.
Okay, yeah.
And then he goes out to the husband, which we don't see this part happen, but
Yeah,
he was
No, he goes at the husband and cuts his buttons off.
that's what it is.
but first he cut something off the back of his.
I believe he cut his ear off.
It's gross. I don't know. I wasn't looking at that part.
It is a
either.
very gross film.
Poor dad.
I think it's cutting back and forth as Arkin sneaks back upstairs to
Yes.
the
Yes,
safe.
this whole thing is cut between Alan going to the safe and the mom about to lose her tongue, or you think she's about to get it cut
Yes.
off. That and honestly, with the
And
amount
he
of
hears
gore,
her screaming through the air.
yes,
Yeah, yeah.
the amount of gore we've already seen, I was sure they were going to show that tongue getting cut
I
off.
was too. Yeah, I actually thought they did until a little bit later.
Oh, that's right. That's
when
right.
that happened, I was
'Cause
like,
the next
didn't
time we
they cut
see
her
the
tongue
mom,
off?
yeah.
all Jane was yelling is like, I hate you, Mike. I hate you.
I was.
yeah.
Yeah, this and spiders too.
So anyway, he opens the safe. He does get the gun,
He does.
and he grabs the jewels or
then-
jewel, I should say.
The giant ruby thing.
Yeah.
And then he realizes he's a little cold, so he's got to go ransack through their sweater drawer to find
no,
a
that was the
cardigan.
one of the
the
bullets.
the bullets were in the safe.
But he does ransack the drawer, grab the bullet box, and the bullet
Yeah.
box is empty. But he does use a sweater or shirt or something to
He
wrap
does.
up his hand.
This is the only
Yeah,
time
yeah.
he really like reacts to a scene because he's like, "Why does this have no bullet?" He like
Yeah.
talks out loud. He's like frustrated because he.
Well, I
has the
think it's
gun.
because the collector collected them.
You think
Yeah.
so?
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah, if
couldn't get into the safe to get the
I
gun?
get the impression that Macaulay Culkin had been casing the joint as long, if not longer, than Alan Arkin was.
Oh.
So he knew where those bullets were, and he just emptied the bullets out.
Oh, okay, so this is the point where I'll share with you my theory. 'Cause
Okay.
At first, I was like, basically, this movie setup is this cat burglar goes into this other horror movie and is like freaked out.
Right.
'Cause
This is
usually
the horror movie I signed up for.
Yeah, yeah. Usually the horror movie is like you're in the family's perspective, and you come home and like your whole house is
Right.
fucked up, and some guy's trying to kill all your family members.
Yeah.
Right.
But in this movie, you're the cat burglar. You come in, So all of the family was in the basement, and the whole house was trapped. So
He sort of comes in mid-movie.
so
mid somebody else's
my
movie.
theory
Yes.
would be he made the traps, and he was enjoying letting them out of the basement one at a time to get caught in the traps and bringing them back and letting them out again. Like
Yes.
like a rat in a maze kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like Mousetrap, the game.
like Mousetrap the game.
Brought to you by Mattel.
Because at first, when I first watched this movie, I was like, "Why are they in the basement? Why does he have all these traps set up?"
Well,
He's
and
just
the
keeping them
dad
in the
does
basement.
come up
Yeah,
out of
so
the
I think he
basement.
Right.
let
I
him-
think that's how he got
let
up
him
there.
out of the basement.
Yeah.
Okay, so then he's looking for Hannah around the room, and he sees the red box in the corner.
He hears a noise.
Oh my God.
Do you hear noise coming
a
from the
boom.
red box?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, this scene sort of scared me too, but now I'm such a baby.
Every scene sort
Like
of
thinking
scared
back on this, I feel so bad for myself. Anyway, so he's walking towards the closet.
Yeah.
And the closet opens a little bit.
Just
and
a
that
crack?
opening a little bit scared me.
Oh, yeah.
Well, because I thought like someone was going to pop on and grab me. I was like, oh,
Because the movie has set up a good atmosphere of suspense.
Oh, it's so
Yeah, so
suspenseful.
everything is a trap and everything is like.
I think it was just the guy in the box kicking the box. That's all it was. It wasn't that scary, but that little jump.
you heard
scared
that
me.
kick in the box.
I
When
heard
they
that
see the
kick
red-
in the box.
A kick in the box, girl.
Step 1, break into a house.
Step
two,
two, put your
dude
Larry in the
box. Step 3, break into another house.
He's a very convoluted serial
Then
killer.
murder a family. All
They're
right.
like, what's the serial killer's pattern? Well, hold on. He kills like 4 of them.
Yeah.
Puts
Yeah.
one in a box, takes that box to the next house, lets that person go to trap the other people, kill them to build another person. His pattern's weird. So Arkin goes
is.
to the red box and opens it, and surprise, Jack in the Box.
Yeah.
Literally. Well, it's Larry. Larry in the box.
Larry in the box.
Oh yeah, because Arkin's like, what's your name? And he's like, Hi, I'm Larry from 30 minutes ago.
So Larry's in the box and he kind of tells us what's going on. What are the rules of this? So like he chooses one person in the house that he wants to collect. He puts that
okay,
person in the
I will
box.
tell you something about the sequel.
It was Macaulay Culkin the whole time.
He keeps some people permanently back in his like creepy
Ooh.
His lair.
Yes.
His lair. And
So
then he
the-
chooses some people as bait people that go in the bait box.
Yes. Some people go in the bait box. Some people go back to the collection.
Oh.
Okay, so wait. Doesn't Larry even say he's the bait?
Yeah,
He
Larry
does. He
he's
says, I'm the
bait.
bait.
And
Yeah.
then freaks out again, starts yelling, and Arkin's like,
Yeah.
the whole movie
Larry's
Arkin-
What
been
the fuck,
through a
Larry?
lot, man.
Right. He's been in that box
So
for
is
like.
Arkin.
I know. I'm just saying. You
The
can't
whole movie
shame
is
Larry.
Arkin trying to get people not to yell. He's like, don't yell.
That's true. Yeah. But Larry doesn't have a wasp hand, so he can't keep cool under pressure.
Arkin was a librarian in a different life.
He really was.
This whole movie is just Alan Arkin winning the game of Quiet Mouse with various people he comes
Quiet
across.
mousetrap.
Yes. He stuffs him back in the box. He's like, no, okay,
He
fine.
does.
He really does push it back in the box.
Like
And then
my
the
one
collector
chance.
comes back up from the basement.
And
Yeah.
Fonz
He
is the
hears
box.
fucking Larry.
Lock it up,
I
Larry.
should have chose the wife.
And then Arkin hides again in a cool spot. He always has cool hiding spots.
He does. Like hiding
And then the
corners.
collector just comes up and kicks the box.
Well, then Larry shuts up.
Yeah, and then the jukebox starts working again.
He Fonzies
Oh, yeah,
the
he
box.
You know? All right. Oh, and
Hey,
then
Larry.
the cat gets caught in the mouse trap.
Oh no, the
And it's
acid
real sad.
trap.
That scene?
Yeah.
This is rough, man. I really hated this
It
because I
is.
love cats and dogs specifically, and so anytime a bad thing happens to a cat or a dog, I get real sad.
Yeah, wasps
and a
can go
bad
fuck
thing happens
themselves.
to a cat and a dog in this movie.
It's like
Yeah.
a guest bedroom, maybe. There's like
The acid floor
acid
bedroom.
glue all over the floor.
Yes.
It's bad.
The-
So he steps in, it starts to kind of melt his feet.
His shoe, not his feet, but
Shoes,
yeah.
sorry, yeah,
And he
yeah.
has some badass Converse All Stars. Like
Yeah.
those are some
Lots of
badass
shoe
shoes.
shots. After his shoes get in the glue, though, we don't see much shoe shots anymore.
Because they got
No.
melted.
the
yeah.
cat's stuck. He's
Cat is
stuck.
not wearing his fancy All Stars.
No, the cat is not wearing his Converses. Yeah.
So Arkin takes off his shoes and then saves the cat.
Yeah, peels the
Well,
cat off
Peels
of the
does he?
gluey
glue,
thing.
and there's like
He's
they-
also at this point knocked some books onto the floor so he can stand
so
on the
he can- yeah,
floor.
'cause he's
Right.
Because this is
'Cause
very
he's
much
MacGyver.
him playing the game The Floor is Lava, but for
Yes,
real.
it's the
Right,
floor.
So he's
exactly.
stepping
yeah.
on these books, and then he does save the cat for a second.
And the cat's like, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
And
jumps
then
up to the window. In fact, I think Alan throws him to the window.
No, he opened the
He
window.
throws him
no,
to
yeah.
the bed.
Arkin gets out of the glue, opens the window, then sees the cat stuck, goes back, throws the cat
Yes.
out. Cat tries to go through the window, triggers the trap,
Yeah.
and gets cut in half.
The cat gets cut in half.
Good
It's
thing
real bad.
Arkin didn't try to go through the window, though.
That's the thing, is the
So-
cat saved him.
The cat is.
Yeah,
At that
absolutely.
point, Arkin was like, peace.
And he says, that'll do, cat.
But the cat gets guillotined in half.
Yeah.
It's like he was
Did you
French
say
royalty in the
peace?
late 1700s.
Arkin, smart again, hears the collector coming, throws magazines over his shoes, and then hides in the pillows.
Hides underneath the biggest bunch of pillows I've ever seen in my
Right.
life.
Well, I've been to people who own bunches of pillows. Everyone
Yeah.
loves decorative pillows, Todd.
You can never have enough decorative pillows.
The percentage of bed surface you should be able to see is like 75%.
Oh my god.
Welcome back to HGTV with Jen.
HVT.
HVTV, guys.
I
Jen
dated a
explains
girl. She had
pillows.
lots of decorative pillows, and we had to make the bed every morning.
And you ended up together?
For short periods of time, yes. So this is when Alan Arkin goes back into the basement. We see the dad hanging from his feet, like guts on
Yeah,
the ground.
Intestines on the ground.
It was real rough.
And not just intestines, like his stomach too. I feel like lots of times when you see this in movies, you just see like the like sausage link kind of thing that you can buy. But I mean, there's like a stomach on the floor and like kidneys and stuff. It's
Yeah.
gross.
He got.
When did the collector have time to do that too? Like I feel like there
After
wasn't
the collector
enough time.
went and didn't cut out the
Yeah.
wife's tongue,
When Arkin
he
was
immediately
upstairs
leaves.
getting the gun and
Yeah.
Cut that ear off and then decided I'm just going to go all the way.
Yes. It was
Yeah,
right
I
after he cut the ear off.
Okay, so then he starts to free the mom, gets her out of the tub, but he says, okay, you can't look at anything.
Yeah, look directly at my back. I
Right.
will walk you
Yeah, he just
upstairs.
takes
We
the
will find a way to
blindfold
get
off.
out.
She's blindfolded and he takes it off and then tells her not to look at anything.
Yeah.
Why can't he just say, I can't take it off yet and then lead her out and then wait till she's past all the
It's a-
dab blood?
I mean, I see what he's doing because it's a
I do
basement.
too.
It's hard to get out of.
he wants her to feel safe
Yeah.
too.
And it's also like they don't know what's waiting for them upstairs, and he might need her to have the
That's
gift of
true.
sight.
What's the right answer there?
There
you know?
isn't. You're fucked. As soon as you enter that house, you're fucked.
I mean, at least he went back to save her.
That's true. He didn't have to do that. But so anyway, she's walking past the dad. She steps on the dad blood, sees the dad who's gotten gutted all over the floor, starts screaming,
freaking out.
runs up the stairs like you would do.
And
That's a
Arkin-
natural
and Arkin again,
response.
His pad to move.
No,
Right.
no, don't do this.
Yeah.
So she does run up the stairs.
Yeah.
And then she gets stabbed 3 times at least
And then
by
pushed
the
down the
collector.
stairs. Yeah.
And then
And
he hides under the desk.
yeah, he has a little desk hiding spot that he uses frequently. And it works,
works,
because that's
yeah.
the first time we see the collector's face when he's hiding in the desk. And the collector, I thought, looked right at him and would see his face, but he didn't
But
because
he
he's
was
got
looking
the
at what, Jen?
spider eyes. Oh, a spider. Ooh. Yeah, it was gross.
Yeah, so he looks at a spider. Jen goes, I thought you said there's no more spiders in this movie.
She said
yeah.
that every time she saw a spider. And I
did.
never heard
I don't like
Mikey say
spiders.
once, that's the last spider.
That's true.
But you
I know.
blamed him every time there was a spider.
Yeah, I know.
And
I'm
he
not
takes the-
apologizing
He takes the
either.
spider and he gently puts it outside the house.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because he cares about the spiders.
That window was not boarded up, which is the only part of the film that really bothers me.
Well, no, that window was also not big enough for a person to get through.
That's
It's big
the,
enough for Hannah to get through. He could have took Hannah out that window.
I guess that's true.
That's the spider door,
You
though.
might be able to get out that window if you were like squeezing through.
The child could have got out.
Yeah, definitely.
but it's high up on the wall, isn't it?
yeah, but
Like, you'd have
she
to-
could help her
child,
out.
yeah.
She's not.
She's short. How would she reach it?
He would just
Alan
pick her
Arkin
up.
would
Oh,
hold her
Alan.
up and push her
And
out
he
the
would've-
goddamn window,
Later
Jen.
on, spoiler alert, they're in the basement together later.
She hides under that desk thing.
He drags the mom after he lets
Oh,
the spider
yeah,
out,
yeah.
he drags the mom back to the bathroom.
Starts
At this
sewing her
point,
mouth
Arkin
shut.
was like, peace.
Yeah,
Oh
I gotta
my
get the fuck
god!
out.
The
The
Yeah.
sewing the mouth shut scene, I could not handle,
I didn't watch
man.
any of it.
I watched all of it. It was horrible.
Yeah, he run. So Arkin goes back to the safe. Did he get the jewels out now, or does he get?
No, he already
got
got the
the
jewels
jewel
out
when he got the gun.
got the gun.
Yeah.
He goes back out to leave, right?
Yes.
He goes back upstairs because he has an exit now where the cat tested it out.
because the guillotine's already fallen, so
Right.
the trap's already busted. Oh, I didn't think about
So
that.
The
Yeah.
trap's been sprung.
He's given up on the mom. Mom stabbed, getting her mouth sewed shut with a fish hook, and it shows it all, and it's very disgusting.
And he's pouring like what, kerosene?
It's,
in?
it's gasoline or something flammable for sure.
Yeah, I thought he was
He's
gonna light her
still
on fire.
alive?
Yes, she's still
Yeah, she's
alive.
still alive.
recording it.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's making the mom bomb though.
Yeah, he's making the mom bomb.
Why is he recording it?
So it would
Just
lure
for
the
fun?
police to set off the bomb.
Well, that
I
part
wasn't
doesn't
watching.
really happen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. And terrible. Ugh.
I hated this movie.
Yeah.
So-
Okay, so
yeah,
then
so
he
he's-
gets out of the house though.
Not yet.
He's upstairs. He's making his way to break out of the house because he's like, this family is screwed. And then all of a sudden, car drives up
Jill
Yep.
gets home. Yeah.
with her 40-year-old.
45-year-old
40-year-old
boyfriend.
thing,
Yeah.
yeah.
She's
Yeah.
just been nailed and about to get nailed
You hear
again.
honking.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's to him.
Oh my god. I hated this.
Which one of you was mad that somebody was
Me.
making out in the car and honking?
Me.
Todd was mad.
It was so dumb.
Then you alert the dad that you're making out with a dad
Yeah.
daughter in the car.
Todd, I have broad shoulders. I have accidentally honked the horn when I've been making out in
you
the car.
got to get in the back
Just
seat.
making out, or she's like riding you and her butt hits the steering wheel.
I'm not a small man.
Oh my god.
You can move the seat back.
Yeah.
I mean, yes,
like,
I get it. But I'm also an adult. I don't have to do that anymore.
Maybe he was just proud of himself and he wanted everyone to know.
if you're an adult, go in your gutter house.
It's a good night kiss.
Apparently, it's more than that.
Well, I guess they got. Well, she does invite. Well, no, she
It's
just
a good
runs out of
night
the car.
grope.
It was a good night kiss, and he thought that was going to be the end of the day. Then she gets out of the car and runs to the house, and,
And then
doesn't say
she
goodnight.
comes after him, right? He comes after
Yeah,
her.
then he goes after her, and they start
Yeah.
making out on the porch.
I bet he wishes he had just
I don't
gone
know,
home.
man. I feel like she invited him to stay the night because
Yeah.
she picked a fight with her mom so she wouldn't have to go on vacation with them, so she would have the house to
Yeah,
herself.
so they shouldn't
Yeah.
have made out of the car at all. This
No.
is a big plot hole
They
for me.
yeah, it's real
Maybe
dumb.
they were
They
just.
should have got out of the car and started making out on the porch.
but
You can
while
make out
they're-
in a car and on the porch.
if she thinks they're home alone, you're not spending a lot of time in the driveway.
Well, they didn't. She was tired of him honking, so she,
She's like, you're going to wake the neighbors.
maybe she's a
Yeah.
voyeur.
What neighbors?
What?
Maybe she's the kind of person that likes to
Yeah,
have people watch
likes
her have
when
sex.
people watch. Yeah.
Yeah.
She wants to be dangerous. Dangerous.
Maybe.
Man, I
and
don't
things
think
are
so.
about to get real dangerous.
They
anyway, so they
are.
start walking in
Someone's
and
about to watch her.
yeah, they start walking in and lightning's going off, and it's sort of like that scene from Blazing Saddles where they're trying to warn the town that the sheriff is who he is, but every time Alan Arkin is like, "You don't come in here," there's like lightning, so they can't hear
Yeah,
him.
Arkin broke a window and was trying to warn
Yeah.
her not to come in here.
The sheriff is.
I haven't
Yeah.
seen Blazing
So she
Saddles.
goes to the front door to try to unlock it, and it doesn't work. And she's like, I think my mom changed the locks.
Right. Which,
Oh God.
I mean, they employ a full time security expert. So, I mean, she could change the locks if
He's
she
a
wanted to.
handyman, I think.
Anyway, so they start walking around to the back, and this is where the collector sees them outside and
gets super
unlocks.
excited.
Oh, yeah.
he
He's like,
unlocks the back
"Ooh, my
doors.
traps."
Click, 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 click.
Yeah, and that's where you see him use that key.
So that's how we know he has them.
Yes.
and
It looks
it'll
like
work.
the key to a gas fireplace.
Yeah, yeah.
Or
uh-huh.
if you want to go to your deadbolt in your house, it looks like the thing you turn to turn the deadbolt. That's all
Yeah.
he's done.
Yeah,
he
yeah,
took
yeah.
that piece out, and then when he puts it back in, he can turn it.
But the key looks
I mean, in truth, this is real dumb because when they actually open the door, you see that there's no deadbolts.
right. It's just a door
I hate
with
that
like
you pointed that
circles
out. I was
glued
like,
to
oh,
it.
God.
Oh yeah, it's such a bad
Smile
moment.
Again. So then they just start making out all over this house, and they are
Well, not all over the house, but like
Yeah.
the little bit you can go in without getting bear trapped.
right. They've
Right.
had several conversations about where they're going to have
You
sex
know, they
too.
find, yes, yeah. Every
They're
room
like,
they go
oh,
to,
we're going to do it in here.
it's like a
Ooh,
game
we're
of
gonna do it in
Clue.
here.
They're like, do you
It
want to
is.
do it?
Yeah.
I'm gonna do
the
it in the
stu-
dining room with the bear trap,
Right. Yeah.
Let's go to the study with the chandelier.
or do you want to do it in the hallway with the machete?
Yeah, or
like
the
all
chandel-
of these things are places and traps.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
but what all good couples do, they chose a table in the foyer.
Right.
It's like the table you put your keys.
Yeah.
and they haven't even turned the lights on yet.
Guys, can we just
No
say
one turns the lights on
I
in
know.
this movie.
this is my favorite scene in the movie, though, and then very quickly my least favorite scene in the movie.
I call this scene boobs and bear traps
she
in
just
my notes.
she lays down on this table
Oh,
and leans
yeah.
all the way back. It's not organic looking at all.
No.
And then
No,
he,
she doesn't look comfortable.
And then he takes off her shirt and bra.
Yeah, he does.
She becomes
Consent-
topless.
It's consensual.
It is.
She
yeah.
becomes topless.
Through a series of events, she
Yeah.
becomes topless.
She becomes boob exposed.
And it cuts to the collector squatting in the corner looking at him,
Ooh,
licking his
ooh.
lips.
Yeah,
And
it's
because
very
his
uncomfortable.
foot-
Licking his
the,
lips.
the man's foot keeps like brushing up against
The machete
trap.
trap.
The machete
and her
trap.
neck is like fully extended, and you think the machete's right
Yeah.
above her neck. I honestly thought she was about to lose her head.
I do too.
And
yeah.
Arkin is like, he comes down the stairs to try to save her, and he's crouched. Another kind of like mirror shot.
Yeah.
He's crouched in one corner. Arkin's crouched in another corner.
Just watching this girl with her boobs out and this guy like enjoying
Well, he
it.
starts trying to go around the other way through the traps to get to them.
Yeah.
Well, he goes into the dining room where the bear traps are
Yeah.
and starts to go under the dining room table where there are no bear traps.
Right. And so then she's like laying back and she happens to see the collector.
Yes.
And so they are all just kind of are staring
get
at
up,
each
yeah.
other.
And the collector stands up like his mom just walked in on him jerking
Right.
it.
Oop.
He stands up and he's like, I don't.
I was looking
my-
for clues.
My hand and Peony were fighting. Quick, give me a hot towel and a chicken burrito. It's going to be a battle royale.
Yeah.
Whoa.
This scene also gets very
That's
awesome.
never
'cause
happened
The
to me.
boyfriend steps in front of her. She
Clearly
puts
not.
her shirt back on.
Yeah.
No one says anything. Collector
Yeah,
has
they're
his
like,
knife jiggling back and forth.
Yes.
Collector's like, I won't say anything about being in your house if you won't
And
say
the
anything about
collector-
me watching
The
you.
boyfriend goes toward the collector to punch him.
Oh, God. This was cool. I hated
the
this.
collector just stabs him through his hand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
his hand.
His fist. His fist.
Yeah, his closed fist gets a knife through it.
All the way
Oh.
through. It's like one of those weird knives that you can buy at like 11:30 at night that's sharp on like
Oh,
a
yeah,
billion
small
different
ninja
sides.
knives, yeah.
ninja knives.
Go to allninjaknives.co.com.
We sleep with the
.uk.
television on, and sometimes I'll wake up to like a
It's like
knife
those knives you buy at Hot
infomercial.
Topic.
Yeah.
On the collector mask too.
So he gets knifed through the fist, and then the machete trap does go off, and it slices a couple of his fingers
Oh, yeah,
off.
after he stabbed once, he loses his composure.
Oh yeah.
Stumbles
Yeah, we
into the
Like
posted
it
machete
is.
this.
trap.
We posted this online, my reaction to it, and it's like I couldn't
This
handle
guy
it.
dies in maybe the worst way.
Oh,
He does.
man.
Fingers get cut off by the machete trap, which kind of misses. Then
Right.
He stumbles backwards
Yeah.
into a bear trap.
And
Yeah.
first it's
And
his
then-
foot.
And his foot gets
And
trapped.
then it's
Todd's
his
yelling.
knees.
Oh,
and then Jen
God, I
starts
hated this.
yelling.
And he's on his knees.
And then he
you're
goes,
like,
"Nyeh," and
you're
he
like,
reverse
"Please fall forward away from the bear trap.
But he doesn't.
He
He
does not.
platoons back into the bear traps. And it's,
And
and
God, I
it shows
hated
it
this.
smashing on his face.
And they show every bear
They
trap
show every
closing.
bear trap closing.
Even the one on his head.
Yes.
And I give this movie credit for this because you think that he's going to get macheted and that's how he's going to get
Yes.
killed. And it just cuts his fingers off and then kills him in the worst way possible.
Yeah.
Maybe not the worst way, but maybe the worst way in this movie.
Arkin comes out from the bear trap room because he is under the table where the bear traps are. But he comes out and goes to, I don't know her name, but the older
Jill.
sister, the
Jill.
girl whose tits were just out. And he's trying to help
Jill.
her. Well, I don't remember her name.
They have Jill is her name.
If she
Do
shows
you
your
think-
tits, aren't you supposed to remember
Do
her
you
name?
think?
Does Arkin try to help Jill, or does the
Yes, no, he's trying to help her.
Because the next time we see Jill, she's like barbed wire tied
No,
to
but
the
Arkin goes and
steps.
hides instead of going to help her. Right? The collector gets her.
No.
Oh, that's right.
She gets
I think-
bob wired against the
Yeah.
railing.
Try to save her.
No. He sets she gets bob wired against the staircase.
Yes.
He went back upstairs and sets the alarm clock.
Ah, that's right.
To
Okay.
lower
That's what it was.
the
Yeah, to lure him
collector.
away.
MacGyver.
So the alarm clock goes off. He goes up the stairs, creaks the step.
Yes.
Every time.
Arkin comes up and is like, Jill, this is not me. We had the same conversation.
With your
Right.
dad, yeah.
He cuts the barbed wire that she's tied up with off, and he's like, "You got to come with me. We got to get the hell out of here."
Yeah.
And then she freaks out, makes a bunch of bad decisions, tries to grab the scissors. The scissors sparks a trap, and she ends up against where the projector projects, nailed against the wall.
Yeah. There's, like, nails out.
Stab through. It like
Because she
flies
thought
her.
Arkin was the guy.
Yeah,
Right.
and this 100% was a horrible effect. Like the nails go through her, and you see it go through one of her eyes, and the eye is like all askew, and
then-
it's through her nose. It's, oh man, I gagged so many times.
Yeah, it was gross. And
So
she
it was a
just
horrible
stuck
effect
up
or
there.
effective effect.
Effective effect, but also horrible.
It's horrible for me. I hated it.
Right.
thought
No,
it
it
looked
wasn't
decent.
a bad effect.
Okay,
it did look
okay.
good. It was just awful because of what happened.
And we'll talk about the budget of this movie in a second, but I was really impressed with how gory it looked and how effective the gore was
Right.
for how much their budget was.
Then Arkin gets out. He goes up and
Oh,
he
yeah,
bones
Arkin's
out.
like, well, this whole family's dead.
We haven't seen the youngest daughter. She might not even be there.
Right.
So
He
I'm
He
leaving.
looked for her a lot. We didn't go over
Yeah,
that.
He
yeah,
did, yeah. So he gets
I mean,
out
she
of the
might
house.
be at a friend's house spending the night. Like,
Exactly.
She may have got out of the house. Who knows?
yeah.
Right. She may not even exist because mermaids cannot live on land.
Well, he does tell the mom, I think she got out of the house because I can't find her.
But then he bones out the window and then he sees
Jumps
her.
off the roof,
Jumps off
gets
the
in
roof.
the yard. There's a banging on the window.
Oh,
So he turns
just when I
around.
got out.
I know. They pull me
Hannah
back
pulls
in.
me back in.
She's like, and he's like, you could just see it in his face, just like the
I'm getting too old for
the
this shit.
conflict. I don't think he wanted to go back in that house.
No, he
I don't
doesn't.
think he wanted to either. And I
I
think the only
wouldn't
reason
either.
he does is because he sees the collector see him, and
Yeah.
the
Right.
collector makes it known that he
The
hears
collector
her.
looks up, here's
Yeah.
Hannah, and he goes
Right.
up there. So
And then he sees the Kevin McAllister cut out of the collector like lumbering towards her in the other window. So
on the train that goes back
yeah.
and forth.
So we've been introduced to ticking clock.
Rocking around the murder tree in a
Ticking clock is on the
murder
band.
fucking house. So either way, he turns around and starts to go back into this house.
He does.
That he just hardcore parkoured out of.
Yeah, he
And
did.
we thought the movie was suspenseful before, but this is shot in such a way where it cuts to Hannah running from the collector who's trying to fuck her up pretty bad.
I'll
Yeah.
say this, like an adult getting murdered doesn't quite have the same effect as a child getting murdered.
He's swinging
Yeah.
the
So
knife
yeah,
at
like
her.
it is rough, man.
And then it's cutting also to Arkin trying to climb very fast back up to the roof. His hands
Yeah.
are all bloody. His ears is bleeding. He's sustained heavy injury.
So he gets in, saves Hannah.
Because he pistol whips him.
And then
at
he
Mikey.
grabs Hannah and they run.
This is where they run to the bathroom, right?
No, this is where they make the fish tank plan.
Yeah,
so they run
to
into
the-
her.
Oh, that's right,
her
that's right,
room
that's right.
With the fish
She
tank.
says, "Don't touch the floor. The floor is hot
and
lava."
Hannah's real chill about all this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, we're gonna use water and the TV to electrocute him. This is a great idea.
Because
Let's
she's
do
baby
this.
MacGyver.
They lock the door. He's banging on the door. Arkin, a genius. He's behind the fish tank. Hannah's holding a TV, and you're like, are they really gonna do this?
But yeah, then they murder all the fish by pushing the fish on.
Well,
fish
and
tank.
the guy who has been
Oh,
collected,
yeah.
Larry.
because
They
I
don't
was
murder
thinking,
Larry. The collector murders Larry.
Sure, in the trap they set for the collector murders
Yeah. The
Larry.
The door busts open. Arkin goes, now! And he pushes the fish tank over. She
Yeah,
throws the
it
TV, and we think
electrocutes.
the collector's going to electrocute it, but
but it's just
Oh,
fish tank
a
Larry
Larry flop.
flopping.
Yeah, it is a Larry flop into a Larry electrocute into a
Yeah.
Larry spits out blood into Larry's dead.
and that's what he gets. That's what you need to turn your lights on when you come in the house.
Exactly.
That is a rough consequence for not turning your lights on immediately when you get home.
Remember that, people. The collector drags Larry back. They run to the bathroom. Arkin gets fish hooked. They lock the door. The collector brings Larry's skull
And beats on the door. Oh
with the
my
head.
God.
Yeah, that is gross. Now he is already dead.
Blood's coming through the keyhole.
He is.
Oh, I didn't know. I wasn't watching that part.
And Arkin's, he's getting the fish hook out of his face. It's very disgusting. It's
It
very high
is.
tension.
On both sides of this door, there are just terrible things happening, and I didn't want to
Yes.
watch any of them. Yeah.
I'm not sure what room this in. Is it the bathroom?
I think it's the
Okay,
bathroom.
because there is a laundry chute in
Yeah,
here.
she's like-
That makes sense.
Yes.
And then Hannah saves the day saying, there's a laundry chute.
Of
Oh,
all
man.
of the traps he put in this house, how did he not think of the laundry?
He
chute to
only
put a
had
trap
6
in?
hours. He can only make 4,000 traps in 6 hours.
But like razor wire at the bottom of that trap or that laundry chute would have been insane.
Oh yeah, and I'm glad that didn't happen because it was a little girl that went down the chute.
yeah, she goes down the chute.
and she's
then
just sitting there safe.
he comes out and then he knocks Arkin out and takes Arkin prisoner.
But Arkin takes his mask off first, right?
Yeah, they struggle.
and sees who it is.
Yes.
Which is maybe an exterminator because that's how we put the wasp nest there.
Arkin
Who is
recognizes
it?
him from earlier in the movie. We never see
But
him.
we don't see who it is. We just see a look of recognition
Yes.
on Arkin's face.
Yeah.
And then he puts his collector mask back
It all
on.
comes back in the
I thought
sequel.
I thought I heard Arkin say I loved you in Home Alone and Home Alone 2. But maybe I just projected it on the movie.
No, Arkin goes, Kevin!
Arkin wakes up and he's got fish hooks all
I like
over him.
This part, because at this part, we're going to review the movie.
It's like a reset.
It is.
So it's been so suspenseful this whole time that it's like, okay, you just saw him pass out. We're going to fade to black and show you where the pieces on the chess table are right. Chess table? Where the pieces on the chessboard are right now.
Right,
And
right.
they show mom still awake, not awake maybe, but still alive
In
in
she's
the
showing
kerosene
stuff, yeah.
bathtub.
See everybody else still just dead and
Yes.
squashed
you see
all
you see
over the
dad's
place.
guts. You see the other daughter against the nails and the boyfriends. So it cuts to Arkin.
Yeah, so he's passed out and he wakes up with his like hands handcuffed, fish hooks holding his hands up, and fish hooks in his back. It was rough. I hated it.
I didn't watch a lot of this because Mikey said this gets rough, and I just kind of checked out for a little bit. And I was
Yeah.
watching Todd and Mikey watch it.
It was
Yeah, he wakes him up by like cutting him in the face with the
Yeah.
knife.
cutting across his forehead.
And that's when you yelled at me for not watching too.
I was mad at you. If you make me watch these movies, you have to watch them too.
I
I
didn't
thought
make
Jen
you
was
watch?
like a horror fan, and then like the whole movie she just hit her
Well,
face.
this
And
is
I was
where-
like, what is going on
This
here?
is where Jen was like, I don't like torture porn, and I said the same thing. I was like, I
Right.
agree.
I don't
this
like
is
torture
torture
movies.
porn.
It is. This is
I
the
don't
only
like
torture
it.
film I like.
Especially when he gets the chisel and the little hammer and breaks out one of his teeth.
Yes.
That's teeth torture.
But this is when Alan Arkin sees Hannah under the table.
And,
And this is right after his tooth gets knocked out. He's like, you're never going to find Hannah.
all right.
You
He's
little bitch.
that's not quite what he says though.
No, he says that first.
Oh, he says it
Because
first,
she makes a little noise and he turns around.
and then he realizes that that doesn't work,
So he,
and
like,
that
ups his insults. I'll let Jen handle this part.
and that the collector may have some interesting opinions about people's choices in their lives because certain words really bother him. Because
Ooh, yeah.
he uses an F word that we're not going to use on this podcast, and that's what Back to the Future's this guy, because he called him a chicken. That's what I'm going to
used,
say instead of the word he uses.
A homophobic slur.
Homophobic
But
slur.
It's honestly
And it
like,
freezes the collector in his tracks because he ain't going down like
You
that.
could
Nobody's
tell
calling him
the
that.
collector was made fun of in middle high school.
But-
Arkin finds out that this homophobic slur, it like
That's
pauses
his
the collector.
kryptonite.
Yeah.
And then it backfires on
And then
Arkin.
he doubles
though.
down and, you know, he's
Oh,
like,
because then he gets the jar of bugs.
yeah. So Alan
Somebody who
Arkin gets
watched
his.
this is going to have to say what happened.
So the collector cuts his stomach, puts a jar of I think roaches against it, and then holds his lighter underneath it. So the roaches are freaking out, trying to get out, trying to climb into the cut that he just put on him.
It's
If you've ever seen
terrible.
Game of Thrones, there's a scene in Game of Thrones where they
right.
put a rat against someone's chest, start interrogating him, and light a fire under the rat.
Yep.
And the rat burrows into the guy's chest and kills him.
This
It's
scene
just
gets
like that.
really intense. And just when you think it's about to get really bad, headlights.
To
And
save
this is
the
when he
day.
drops the thing.
Okay, so back when the older daughter was getting murdered, she
Yes.
pulled out her cell phone and dialed 911.
Well, she gets
Piano
hit and
wire.
drops it. But either way, yeah.
So the call to 911 has gone through.
Which is another reason I like this film, because she does what anybody would do, call 911.
Yeah.
Right.
And the police actually show up in a
They
reasonable
do.
amount of time.
The cop arrives.
The cop goes to the window and shines his flashlight and sees dead boyfriend bear trapped.
Bear trapped. Yeah, he's like,
So
ooh,
he
I'm gonna get
gets
the fuck
up
out of
right
here.
now, he's like, we need everybody out here right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then he starts walking around with his gun out, and he
Yeah.
sees the collector walk out from behind a tree.
Baller style.
Oh my God, I would have shot him immediately.
Yeah, Jen was
anyone
like,
in
you
a-
can't shoot someone like that. I'm like, he's wearing a mask with a knife, with gloves. He's got blood all over him. Like,
Yeah.
if I
And
was
you
a
just saw a
police
big bear
officer,
trap
I would
thing.
be fired because I'd be like, they'd be like, you shot that serial killer without talking to him. I'd be like, I'm sorry.
I would have said he said many things. He confessed to everything. This is why I shouldn't be a cop.
Yeah, the body cam footage is just him walking out of a tree. I'm like, pop, 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 pop.
But seriously, this is why I could never be a cop, because I would shoot at things that scared me, and everything scares
I'm
me.
just saying, police
This is also
work
why
is
you
hard.
shouldn't have a gun.
The collector is really scary looking.
He is.
He is, yeah. He's got those
Police work
spider
must be
eyes.
very hard. I don't think I would do the right thing right there. That
me
cop
either.
did a very good job.
Well, and this is when we find out that the dog for sure belongs to the collector.
Yeah, the sheriff's
Yeah.
guy. He was like, drop the knife. The collector does drop
does.
the knife, and he like
does.
starts to surrender.
But he doesn't drop the dog.
No.
The dog
The
jumps
dog
off.
drops the cop,
I think
Yeah.
he whistles and
He
it
does.
Does he?
signals the dog, to
and the
attack
dog bites the cop in the neck.
and rips his throat out. Yeah,
the
it's
dog's
sad.
a giant German Shepherd. I don't know if we went over
Got
that.
a taste for blood.
Yeah, he does.
So anyway, so the collector goes back in the house with the dog, like right next to him.
Then we
Oh
see.
no, and he also grabs the shotgun out of the cop car.
Yes.
Yes.
because the collector's like, done with my traps. I'm just gonna go shoot.
Well, he
this
is
guy in the
assuming that
face."
all the cops are on their way,
Oh
because
yeah,
they
he's like,
should
Right.
be.
We need to wrap this up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
no
now
more time for the collecting.
now he's got a shotgun. Ho ho ho.
When it's cutting away from him fighting the cop, it's going to Arkin pulling the
the fish hooks out of his hands. Just
Oh yeah.
and then he uses a fish
Ugh.
hook to pick the lock on the cuffs.
Yeah.
And he pulls all the fish hooks out of his back. Very painful.
Oh, it's awful.
Arkin escapes.
Yeah.
Grabs Hannah and
he's like, I'm gonna climb up the chute and I'll pull you up. So he
Right.
ties her to like with
Like
a bed
ties a
sheet
sheet
or
around
something.
her
yeah.
waist.
a towel
yeah.
or sheet or something.
And
He
pulls her
climbs
up.
up the laundry chute because he's baller.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a fucking baller.
He is.
And then Hannah's like, he's coming down the steps, and he goes, he's supposed to come down the steps.
Does he? Oh, I
And
missed
was,
that part.
Yeah, I was
That's
like, oh,
right. Yeah.
dude, Alan Arkin's got a plan.
Yeah.
So he climbs up the laundry chute, pulls her up the laundry chute barely before the dog gets her. Like you see the dog almost grab
like
her foot.
nipping her
Yeah, and
heel.
you see Collector with the shot. He's like racking the shotgun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he runs upstairs, brings the dog upstairs.
And then they
run.
light a fire in a trash can, right?
And then the dog runs upstairs, runs to them, and Alan opens the door right as the dog runs in it when he shoves the flaming barrel onto his face or bucket or whatever.
Onto the dog's
Onto the
face.
dog's face. And then the next
Arkin
thing
is
you
a
see.
straight up badass.
Oh, yeah. The next thing you see is the collector cocking the shotgun again, and then Alan throwing the dog with the flaming bucket on his face towards him, and then he shoots the dog, and the dog gets blown in half. I know the dog is on the collector's side, but I felt very bad for the dog.
I did too.
Because
That's all
the
he
dog
knows,
didn't,
you know?
yeah.
The collector just trained him in a poor
It's
way.
like fight dogs. Like, they don't know.
I know.
And it throws
Yeah.
the Collector off.
It
Shooting his
does.
own dog.
Yeah.
And then
As you do,
Arkin
you know?
jumps on him and hits him. The shotgun gets knocked down to the basement.
Yep.
Arkin and then they fight.
And then the collector gets knocked down into the basement
Yeah.
too,
Arkin
right?
throws him down the basement, locks him in the basement, and takes Hannah and
Right.
steals his keys.
Yep.
Arkin is just
Well, I don't know if he stole the keys so much as the keys fell off during the fight. And then when the collector falls on the steps back right next to the shotgun, we see that Alan Arkin is right next to the keys.
His hands are real bad.
Yeah.
They go to the door.
Yeah, and he's
Can
like,
you help me with the keys?
Right.
Can you open the door?
Because I have bloody stumps now.
Right. I got hooks.
And Hannah finds the house key, but it's broken.
And meanwhile, the
Yes.
collector is like blowing holes through the door with
Yeah.
his shotgun in the
Through the
basement
basement door, so he
Yeah.
can get out.
Back. So he comes back up. It looks like Arkin and Hannah are just like giving up.
Kneeling by the door.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the front door that is like locked and you can't get out of it.
But
That is not reality because he was foiled by the mirror.
yeah, Arkin set up the mirror. It was on the other side. He shoots through the door.
And the director has set this mirror up because this fooled me in the very beginning when Arkin first breaks into the house. This
Yes.
mirror tricked me.
Well, the collector walks up the steps and then he like sees them crouched over and he shoots and it goes through the mirror and blows the door
Open. Yeah, pretty much.
It's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
a door open. It just like blows off the lock or whatever. But it does go all the way through the door.
It allows
and then
it
the
to
collector
escape.
realizes it's the mirror and then it cuts to Alan Arkin, who you can see right sort of in the entrance to the other room, let go of the trap for the knife chandelier. And then that lands on the collector and stabs him. It doesn't kill him, but it lands on him. It
Yeah.
stabs him like 3 or
Yeah,
4
and then
times.
He grabs Hannah. They run out the front door.
Yes.
Cuts the collector like taking the chandelier off and like yelling in his creepy collector.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we see a whole bunch of cop cars coming now. So they're
Yes.
running through the
And
field.
Alan's running right for those cop cars.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
he runs
Trying to
out in
flag
the
'em
street to
down.
stop them. and then boom, he gets hit by a cop
He
car.
puts Hannah down first.
Yeah, he
Oh,
does.
yeah. He leaves her down by the side of the street. And then as he's like coming out of it and into it, just like looking over at Hannah, and you see the collector come up behind Hannah.
Yeah.
And it looks like he's about to stab her, and then it's a cop.
Yeah.
You were totally bought in.
Oh, I was so
I
mad.
did too. I
was like,
know.
if we went through all of that to see Hannah
You know
get
what?
stabbed.
I hate movies that do that. Where
Me
like,
too. And then it cuts to them putting Alan Arkin in a ambulance. And I
Yes.
thought that the movie, I thought like
I did
them
too.
drive off credits.
I was ready
the
to say,
cop-
and that's
cop
the
was
movie.
Like, did you recognize? Was it the exterminator you told me about? Like, there's
Yeah,
a-
we think it's the
You
exterminator.
can tell that Arkin told him who it was or
Yeah.
who he thought it was, and he's like,
Uh-huh.
"We figured out it was so and so extermination company."
Because there's
Right.
that chick police officer who's like, we got the exterminator. That
Yeah.
chick police officer could get it, man. She was pretty cute.
She was cute.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
that red hair?
Honestly, well,
Get
yeah. I'll say this though, the
I'm just
daughter,
attracted to power.
the daughter in this movie,
Authority.
she could get it too. She's pretty cute.
Yeah.
I hope you're talking about
Curly hair?
Jill,
Yeah, Jill, the older daughter.
Yeah.
the one who died.
Well,
You
not
got nailed.
now. She could formally get it. Me in a
Formally get it?
tuxedo.
Because it cuts to Hannah driving off in a cop car.
Yeah.
Well, Hannah gets
sounds
saved
like-
by the cops.
and Hannah is
But the-
saved, right?
Yes,
she's saved.
but the collector's not done
No.
because
No.
there's the ambulance gets knocked over.
Oh,
I
well,
wasn't
no.
quite sure how this happened.
He's in the ambulance. The ambulance is driving to the hospital.
And then the ambulance crashes.
No, it was rammed by the van.
Rammed. Is that the white van? Yeah.
Yes.
And it gets knocked over, and
Which I like this shot
yeah.
because Arkin is strapped to the gurney and the paramedic's not, so he bounces around. It's pretty cool.
Hey, Jack Frost, director. This is what an effective car crash scene
Oh
is
my
supposed
God.
to
You'll
look
just spin
like.
the
Yeah.
camera really fast. and
Right.
it's-
So dumb.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. And honestly, this is a super low budget movie. They definitely didn't wreck that ambulance. It was a miniature. You
Yeah.
can sort of tell, but it was done pretty effectively.
It
How do
looked
you think
pretty
they did
good.
the interior shot then.
I don't know.
That's to pull that off with that budget is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Them inside the ambulance looks really cool.
So anyway, the collector comes up, throws a knife through the EMT's eye socket, which is the worst way to go.
Right. And
And
Arkin
then-
is strapped to the gurney, so he's upside down.
And
Arkin's
then-
bad day.
Yeah, man.
And then he gets cut out of that by the collector. The collector puts him in a box, and then that's it.
Puts an Arkin
that's
in
the movie.
box.
But we see him close the white van, rip the exterminator thing off the side, and
Yeah.
drive away.
And drive off into
Yes.
the sunset. And
So
then,
he's not the exterminator.
I'll explain in the sequel.
yeah, what
Okay.
happens in the sequel?
I'm not telling you. We gotta watch it.
Well, and this is when Mikey finds out that one of his favorite movies has an extended scene that he never
Yeah.
knew
Yeah, I didn't
existed.
know. There's a post-credit scene in this movie.
It's real short in your
Yeah, it's
defense.
not really
just the
much.
collector sitting on the box, Alan Arkin screaming from inside, "Gotta go fuck yourself!"
No,
and
no,
then he
says,
hits it.
I'm gonna fucking kill you.
And then he
and then
Fonzes
the collector
box.
Fonzie's the box, and that's it. And that's the movie.
And that's the movie.
This budget, $3 million.
And that's low.
That is
right?
real low for this.
What was 13 Ghosts budget?
It's like 15 million, I think.
This
Yeah, I
movie
think that's
looks
right.
fantastic compared to
It
that
really
movie.
does.
I'll say this. It doesn't look fantastic. It looks like it was shot on DSLR cameras at a really low ISO, so it's pretty grainy. But
Yeah.
the effects look good.
I don't know what any of that meant.
If grainy doesn't matter to you,
Yeah.
it's fine. How much do you think they made on this movie? Let's talk about that.
20 million?
Okay, that's a bit high.
15 million?
That's
I
a
think
little
they
bit closer.
lost.
So-
I think
14
they lost
million.
money on this movie.
They did not lose money on this movie, guys.
Well, 'cause they only
would
spent
not have
$3
made a
million.
sequel. So it made 7 million, almost 8 million domestically, and a little over 2 million internationally. So
Yeah.
it made about 10 million in theaters, and then on domestic DVD and Blu-ray sales, it made another 4 million. So it did pretty good.
And
Yeah.
it came out in the Great Recession, like right in the peak
Yeah,
of like, everyone
2009.
losing their
Yeah.
jobs and everything.
I mean, honestly, it still made money.
It got pretty bad reviews too. I think what hurts it is that it is so violent and so gory.
It's too
And I
torture
think
porny.
that it is. And I think that's why it's appealing to a lot of horror fans, and that's why people still talk
No,
about it.
I think it's to its detriment. I think if they would have toned it down, it could have been a classic.
Well, I think I agree with that. Yeah.
So let's do fun facts.
All right,
Jen's fun facts.
There's not a ton of fun facts on this.
Oh, Jen's not a lot of fun facts.
Light on the fun facts.
They're super fun though. They make up with extra funness.
Now with more fun.
Hashtag fun facts. So this was originally pitched as a prequel to Saw. Did you know that?
No.
Ooh, interesting.
I
Okay.
know that they didn't do it. Whoever has the rights to Saw
I
didn't
think
want
the
to do
premise
that.
is way better in this than Saul.
I can see what they were going for, and I don't know if I think it's better than Saw, but I think this does what it does, unconnected from the Saw universe.
Jigsaw Killer has its own thing.
Exactly, and
I
this
like,
is different.
I think this is a more interesting serial killer.
I agree. I like this more than I like Saw.
Yeah.
And I like that this guy is just crazy and likes to collect
Sure.
people. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's more like this is what like a really, really crazy serial killer would be like.
Exactly. Yeah. With who uses his full potential.
This is a serial killer who listened to The Secret and really
Exactly.
put out that thought, positive thoughts.
Dude.
He
Can you
put
imagine-
down Eat, Pray, Love and was like, you know what? I'm going to do
I
it.
visualized my success.
Can you imagine what his vision board would look like, too?
Oh, it'd be
It's
real
just
gross.
Bugs,
Spiders.
organs, like body parts sewn together.
Spiders.
It shows his vision board in The Secret.
Does it really? Yes. Oh my gosh.
Hit us with another fun fact.
All right. Well, it got pretty negative reviews.
Yeah, it did.
Because
Imagine that.
and like kind of what I was saying, this movie is stuck around because I think there's an audience for this movie, but it's not the general audience that would go see this in the theaters and make it really successful. But I mean, I know like people that are into horror that love this movie, like you,
Do
you
they-
know.
but I don't love it for the torture. I love it for the cat.
Well,
The cat and mouse.
There
and,
are
like,
people
is
that
Arkin
like
a good
torture
guy,
a
and like
lot.
the whole film is suspenseful because you don't know who if he's gonna get Arkin
I get that.
or
Right.
Arkin's gonna save anybody.
Yeah.
You
And
don't-
that's
you don't
why
know.
it can appeal to people that like more than just torture porn
Right.
too.
I
But
hate
yeah.
torture stuff.
There was an alternate ending that ended. This must have been just a written alternate ending, but it was supposed to end, or was originally going to end when he gets out of the house and he just sees Hannah in the window and then he leaves,
Oh, shit. That
which would
would
have been a
brutal.
dark
Yeah.
ending.
Well, that's what
Yeah.
kind of the movie plays at throughout the thing.
But-
was
Right.
like,
oh my
is
God.
Arkin gonna do it? Okay.
I would have done that.
I think I would have done it too.
No,
I would have
just
gone
called
somewhere
the
and called the
cops.
I would've
cops.
just called the
Oh, I'm
cops.
so sorry, Hannah.
And I think if he hadn't seen the collector coming for her, he could have told himself, "I'll call the
Yes.
cops. She'll have enough time."
It is, and I think the director did a good job of showing that the reason he went back is because he saw
because
the
he did
collector.
see that. Yeah, yeah. That's really all my fun
I'm
facts.
sorry, Hannah.
I know. Hey,
That
she
would
got
have been
out
an
okay.
interesting ending.
So, listeners, our scary scale is a system that we use to rank how scary we thought this movie was. It's not a ranking of the quality of the film, it is how scared we were when we watched it today. We have not had too many high ranking movies recently, but I have a feeling that's about to change. Todd, what's your ranking?
I'll give us an 8. It's just so suspenseful and torture porny. So like there aren't a lot of jump scares. There are a few when they scared me, and that's like my kryptonite. Jump
Yeah.
scares are the worst for me. But this is so suspenseful for so long. You're literally like freaking out. Well, if you're like me, you're freaking out the whole time you're watching it.
No, I was too.
So yeah, it's a scary movie for me.
Yeah.
It's still that suspenseful on rewatches because I was like, this movie's the tension is held very high.
Yeah,
It
I'm
is.
sure. I mean, I'm sure. Well, Mikey, what did you give it
I'm gonna give it a 6.
on rewatching?
On
I mean, I'd
rewatch.
buy that. I
'Cause,
think
like,
if
my
I
hands, I noticed my palms were sweaty, especially
Uh-oh.
when Hannah gets involved.
did you just eat mom's spaghetti?
Mom's sweaty.
Like, I think if I had to
Drop
watch
bomb.
this again, I'd probably give it the same rank I
Yeah.
gave it before.
I
It
think so
holds
too.
up.
I'm going to give it an 8 along with Todd.
I don't blame you.
Because I think it's the kind of movie I do not like to watch. I'm kind of mad that I had to
But
watch
take
some
the
parts of it.
torture out, and it's just so suspenseful.
If you take the torture just a notch down, I think I would have liked it more.
I mean, I
Although,
would have liked it a lot more if it was just about a family who had a daughter who was a slut and was like super hot.
That's a different movie, yeah. Hashtag Todd cuts.
But the acting is about the same.
That's true. Maybe he's not a collector. Maybe he's just a pizza man. He shows up,
Oh man,
and she doesn't have any money to pay for
I'm
the
here
pizza.
here to fix your pipes.
Yeah. I'm the
it's like the movie Extra
exterminator.
Anchovies or whatever.
Yeah.
That does exist.
What is it, Loverboy?
Oh, that movie where that guy, I don't
Yes!
know, he's talking about from the 80s?
Yeah, I made that reference. It's Patrick Dempsey,
Patrick
right?
Dempsey,
Yeah.
Patrick Dempsey.
Yeah.
Yeah. What episode? I think that's Child's Play.
I think it's a really old
an
episode that we
older
did, but
one.
I referenced it
Memory
and
lane.
they thought I made it up. They were like, that movie doesn't
Like,
exist.
yeah,
movie
Todd, that's just the
exists.
porn that you watch.
So,
Listeners.
Jen, Mikey made us watch The Collector this week. What are we watching next week?
It's another Mikey choice movie.
What?
But I think I might like this one a little bit better. We're going to watch Happy Death Day.
Because it's Valentine's.
Yeah, we know Happy Death Day to You is about to come out. I haven't seen Happy Death Day.
I haven't
know
seen it
Todd
either,
hasn't
obviously, so-
Although,
I actually like it's not that scary.
Yeah,
but
you'd
it's-
say that, but I can't handle any scary movies.
I like Happy Death Day because it mixes Groundhog Day and a horror movie.
I
And
love Groundhog
I love
Day.
movies that rip off Groundhog Day because I love Groundhog Day.
that is a
Okay,
good
so my
movie.
brother and I came up with this idea, and I think it would be awesome. I think the people who created Groundhog Day should say they're making a Groundhog Day 2, and then have a release and have it, nationwide release, but it's just Groundhog
And
Day.
just release the whole movie.
They could
again.
make so much money doing literally no work, a little subversive social media marketing
believe it
campaign, and
was
that's it.
Ivan
Guys, we are a member of the Modern Horrors Podcast Network. Check out their network and their feed, of which we are on. And if
Yeah.
you're listening to us in their feed, take in mind that you could listen to us 2 days earlier if you subscribe to our feed. You'll get our our downloads on Monday. If you're waiting for us in their feed, you don't get it till Wednesday. So make sure you subscribe to us on our feed. But they do have a bunch of great podcasts, The Final Girls, Death, Dying, and Other Things, and of course, the Modern Horrors flagship podcast.
They got a website and a YouTube channel with lots of cool shit, too.
It's great stuff. Check it out.
Yeah.
Also, guys, make sure you follow us at Horror Virgin on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you want to follow us each individually, mrandolph24 on Instagram and Twitter.
I
and
tweeted last week.
I saw that. I was so proud of you. You have no idea. And then Jennifer Ratu on Instagram and Twitter. And I, of course, am Todd J. Awesome on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Yep. And if you want to help us by our Patreon and stuff like that, go to patreon.com/horrorvirgin. It's really easy. A lot of great perks on there.
Yeah.
A lot of great content.
I think we just wrapped up our February listener request. So
Yes.
stay tuned for more stuff like that. Yeah.
And don't forget to leave reviews and stuff.
Yes.
It really does help people find the podcast.
Someone mentioned my name on a review, and I was super excited about it.
Yeah,
Yes.
and it was written by not Mikey at all.
No,
right?
no, someone else.
Oh, somebody else did?
They said, and yeah,
was
they
it
had a longer...
not Mikey's mom at all?
No. I mean, possible. No, I don't think it was her.
We'll
it was like a
confirm.
real review, and they're like, and I guess Mikey now too. And I was like, oh yeah.
Oh, you're a real boy now.
Oh.
I'm a real boy.
All right.
I'm a real man.
That got real weird.
I know. It took a weird turn.
So because this is our last podcast in the month of January,
Yeah.
it is time for...
2019 is flying.
It
by.
really is.
It is.
But it
it's
is time for...
1/12 down.
Talk about scary, Todd.
Oh my God. But it is time for our monthly Patreon shout outs. So of course we do the Nick B shout out every week because he's at that level, that burn it down level. So thank you, Nick B, for that. But
Hey, you can get it, listeners. You're about to get it.
oh, you can get it.
Thank you. You can get it, listener Eddie S., Melissa K., and Daniel Y. Thank you so much for your support.
I didn't get to say a name.
Oh,
It
sorry.
sounded like all of them were like last names and then like Daniel. Why? So if you want to get your monthly Patreon shout out, go to patreon.com/horrorvirgin and get a lot of great content, of which that or a weekly shout out is one of the options. So sign up there, guys. Thank you so much to all you guys who continue to support the podcast on and off
Let's
Patreon.
say you and a significant other are both listening to this podcast, and you want to.
You want to give her a Valentine's Day
No, you want to get
present?
engaged.
You gotta
have
take
up
her to
your
London for
Patreon
that.
level, and then you will announce your proposal at the end of
Oh,
the podcast.
I would
Oh, yeah.
absolutely do that. I would 1000% do a Jacob, will you please marry Jonathan? Or Jennifer, will you please marry
You could write a
Jacob? And the
very
strangest
detailed
love
note.
trial.
We would do that.
Oh, that'd be great.
Oh my gosh, yes. Get creative with the Patreon. Is all I'm saying.
If you want to get engaged at a live show.
That's going to be it for us. Yeah. Thanks,
All right,
everybody.
guys, thank you so much. And if you help through the Patreon, thank you so much. But if you guys don't because you can't or don't want to or whatever, still thank you very much for listening to the podcast. We
Yes.
appreciate it.
Downloads, listens, just telling your friends and
man.
family, so helpful.
Dude,
Yes.
Spotify and downloads have gone up so much in the past month. And you
You
guys,
mean since you added someone to the podcast?
I can't think about who they
I
would
can't
be.
either. I'm not.
I can think about it. It's me.
Someone's been calling it the Mikey bump for quite some time. It's driving me crazy.
Yeah, and we just haven't.
Anyway,
had
I'm
the
100%
starting
sure
point.
it's
enough to
because
get that
you
Mikey
got. It's more of like a Mikey boop.
Mikey boop.
Whatever. As long as I'm,
But guys, thank you so much for sharing the
Bumping.
podcast with your friends and family.
Yeah.
That's the only reason we would be growing as much as we are. So thank you very much.
That's going to be it for us, guys. Thanks for listening. I'm Jen.
I'm Mikey. Have a great week.
And I am your virgin Todd, guys. Bye. Nerds.